Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Jaya Radhe Shyam Jai Jai Radhe Shyam Jai Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Jaya Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jai Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gaurita Pavana Himanitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gaurita Pavana Himanitai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Srila Gurudeva Gurudeva Srila Gurudeva Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Pura Hari Bol Nita Dora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Pura Hari Bol प्रेम से बोलिए जय जय श्री राम जय जय श्री राम जय जय श्री राम श्याम श्रीमती राधा रानी की
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
They are all a million times better than me. I'm just trying to do something, but they are a million times better. I thank all of you all for bearing me. I'll be happy if I took you all to Vrindavan. Okay, there are. It's 6:10. What's the schedule? What's the upper limit? How long can I go? Is the voice audible? 6:10. That's a wrong thing you tell me. And the reason I say that is, in the start when I came to Seattle, devotees would tell me that, Prabhuji, chalu rakho, kal chutti hai, how much ever you want to go. And believe me or not, during COVID, there have been days when we ended the discussion at 2 at night. I am not joking. You can verify. So you would want to rephrase your statement. And the good thing is tomorrow is a holiday. Day after is also holiday. 6:15, an hour. 7:15, 1 hour is good. Continuous prasadam or katha? So you are telling the host that you don't want prasadam at the end. Okay, we will see what Radharani has in plan. We will see. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Bhanustute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda all together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama रवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः आनंद लीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्यच्छ विसुंदराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रस प्रदाय चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की श्रीमती राधा रानी की Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for very kindly coming back for our part 2 of the discussions on the glories of Srimati Radharani. Of course, it's already been a long day. It's a festival day. Naturally, we'll have services in the temple. On top of that, it was fasting, and by the time we broke fast, probably it was 1:30, 1:45. And you'd be thinking, "Ek katha hua nahi ki वापस the speaker has again come back." It's been less than 2 hours, and he has again come back. So it's just a humble attempt to discuss something about Srimati Radharani, as I mentioned earlier today also. The speaker is just not qualified to speak anything about Krishna consciousness, leave alone the highest and the most esoteric, most exalted topic, the glories of Srimati Radharani. In the Krishna Leela Stava of Shripad Sanatan Goswami, I saw Krishna Leela Stava at Prabhuji's house. Then you go to take darshan of Golokeshwari, Golokapati. Shri Golokeshwari, Golokapati ki. So when you enter the room, I saw Krishna Leela Stava was there of Shripad Sanatan Goswami. So I thought, why not we start today's discussion by quoting a very wonderful verse that Shripad Sanatan Goswami gives. Please repeat. Paramananda Pathaya Varsha Aksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. What does Shripad Sanatan Goswami say? Very wonderful words. Paramananda Pathaya. Pathaya. Pathan karna. Like in Hindi we say pathan karna. To study. But not just to study, to read, to share, to memorize, to contemplate. How we can apply that in our life. It all comes under the umbrella of Pathaya. Pathan karna. When we study Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens? Paramananda. Nanda means happiness. When there is too much happiness, Ananda. A is a prefix in Sanskrit. Like for example, that place where you do lot of hard work is called ashram. Shrama means hard work. That place where you do lot of hard work, ashram. Grahastha, ashram. Sannyas, ashram. Brahmachari, ashram. So shrama means hard work. Ashram, too much hard work. Similarly, Nanda, happiness. Ananda, too much happiness. Paramananda, oh, too much happiness. That happiness that cannot be put into words. Good, better, best. Nanda, Ananda, Paramananda. When you study Bhagavatam, you don't get Nanda, you don't get Ananda, you get Paramananda. Shripad Sanatan Goswami picks words perfectly. Like we during Janmashtami we sing Nanda ke gharan anand bhayo jai kanaya lal ki. Nanda was already happy, but when Krishna appeared, Ananda, he became more happy. So Paramananda Pathaya, when we study Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not Nanda, it's not Ananda, it's Paramananda. Too much happiness. That happiness that cannot be put into words. Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varsha Aksharayate. Every canto? No. Every chapter? No. Every purport? No. Every translation? No. Every verse? No. Every line? No. Every word? No. But every akshar has so much power that it can drown the living entities in torrential rain of prema. Paramananda Pathaya, every akshar is so powerful. It can completely drown. So, Shripad Sanatan Goswami is saying, leave alone all the 12 cantos. Leave alone one canto. Leave alone one chapter. Leave alone one purport. Leave alone one translation. Leave alone one verse. Leave alone one line of that verse. Leave alone one word of the one line of that verse. If you just take one akshar, it is so powerful that it can drown the living entities in prema. Prema Varsha Aksharayate. Akshara means one alphabet. Prema Varsha. Prema means love. And Varsha means rain. Varsha means rain and Rna means Ananda. That place due to which, because of presence of Radharani, there is torrential rainfall of happiness is called as Varshana. Na stands for happiness, Ananda. And Varsha means rain. That place where by the presence of Radharani, there is torrential rainfall of Ananda, happiness is Varshana. So, what do we get by studying Srimad Bhagavatam? Do we get Nanda? Paramananda. No Nanda, no Ananda, Paramananda. Please don't go out and say that Arjun Sakha Prabhuji said you don't get any Ananda in studying Bhagavatam, so let us quit our Bhakti Shastri. That is not what I am saying. Or to all the teachers who are teaching Bhakti Shastri, that is not the purport. Srimad Bhagavatam gives you Paramananda, too much happiness. Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varsha Aksharayate. So the first line speaks about the qualities of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the next line, Shripad Sanatan Goswami speaks about the benefits, why we should study. Sarvada Sarvasevyaya. Always study Srimad Bhagavatam. Sarvada means 24 hours. But the Kali Yuga understanding is at least once a day. Ideally, it means 24 hours. But in Kali, IT job, our job commitments, our boss, the boss whom we love so much, whom we itch to see on Monday. Of course, this Monday is a happy day. We don't have to see his face, his or her face. With all those commitments, and if you're a Mataji, then taking care of the children, the maid not coming on time, Bai not coming on time, that's a big problem in India. For all the Matajis, if the Bai maid doesn't come, that's a big problem. Sarvada Sarvasevyaya. How can we study Bhagavatam 24 hours when these anxieties are there? It's hovering upon our head. How to study it 24 hours? So once a day. Prabhupada is more kind. Prabhupada knows for Kali Yuga people, even once a day is a big thing. So Prabhupada says at least 30 minutes. At least 30 minutes. If not 24 hours, if not every day, all day, throughout the week, and if not even once a day, at least 30 minutes. This much we can do. No one is so busy that we cannot take 30 minutes to study Shastra. This much time we have. Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. Shripad Sanatan Goswami says, I offer my obeisances to that Srimad Bhagavatam who is not different from Krishna. And what are the qualities? Paramananda Pathaya. By studying this scripture, I don't get Nanda, I don't get Ananda, I get Paramananda. Second, Prema Varsha Aksharayate. Every alphabet, every syllable is so powerful. Prati shloke, prati akshare, nana arte kahe, Krishna tulya bhagavat vibhu sarvashray. Kaviraj Goswami says. Every alphabet of the Shastra is so powerful. If that just can be taken in a very humble, sincere mode, then that is enough for complete self-realization. Leave alone the whole scripture. And that is why Sripad Sanatan Goswami says, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya. Always take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam or Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita or Bhagavad Gita. Nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, etc. Why? Shri Krishnaya Namostume. This scripture is not different from Shri Krishna. So generally we see in Kali, the process is very simple. We say Brahmaji did tapasya for 60,000 years to get the mercy of Radharani. And then he did another 60,000 years of penance to become the 4 hills of Barsana. The 4 heads of Brahma become the 4 hills of Barsana. Dangad, Mangad, Bhangad, Vilasgad. He who has his parents as Vishnu, he who is the creator, is begging Radharani to become inanimate in Vrindavan. It's a big statement. Bill Gates will not want to become a mountain. Jeff Bezos would not want to become a mountain. But Brahmaji, who is the CEO, who is the creator of the whole manifestation, is begging Radharani. Why? To become 4 hills of Varsana. 60,000 years of penance. Now in Kali, this is very difficult. We know our patience level. Our patience level, we very well know. It starts with Shravanam, and 10 minutes into the class, it becomes Snoranam. It starts with Shravanam, and then 10 minutes into the class, it becomes Snoranam. We agree or not, it's a different thing. But believe me or not, this is the best place in the house. From here, I exactly know who is there in the discussion, whose eyes are open, but internally they are sleeping, whose eyes are externally also sleeping. And the third category is when the class and prasadam chahiye Prabhuji. Aap khatam karo, we are waiting for the prasadam. In ISKCON centers, we always find for the class there will be 20. For the prasadam there will be 50. And if it's a festival day, it will be 100 because you know you're going to get paneer, gauranga potato. So the crowd will increase. It's a typical ISKCON scenario. For Kirtan, the number will be high. Prasadam number will be high. Katha, it will go down. So it starts with Shravanam, then it ends in Snoranam. That is not, please don't take inspiration. Please don't say that, Prabhuji, you only said that we should do Snoranam. That is not what I am saying. That is not the purport. So our patience level, we know. What to speak of 60,000 years? Even 6 minutes of proper attention in a class is a big thing. Is a very big thing. So the process for us has been made very simple. If devotees can come ahead, don't worry. I have already had prasadam. I'm not going to eat anyone. In Bhakti Center in Manhattan, I remember we would call this the sliding yoga, because you have the Americans, and just to catch their attention, because they know what yoga is, and we don't want to introduce them to Bhakti yoga right away. So we just tell them this is sliding yoga. This is one form of yoga. So they slide and come close to the speaker. And once they come to the close to the speaker, by hearing that sliding yoga becomes Bhakti yoga. So, what were we talking about? Snoranam, correct? Shravanam. We are talking about Shravanam. Some are like, Prabhuji, aap jo bolo aap bolo Prabhuji, hum aapke saath hai. We are there with you. So we are talking about Shravanam. So we don't have the patience like Brahmaji to do 60,000 years of penance. But in Kali, process is very simple. Just sit at one place and hear attentively. All auspiciousness, all goodness comes to the jiva just by sitting and hearing. Sripad Aindra Prabhupada disciple, he would say this is the lazy, intelligent way to progress in bhakti. It's lazy because you're just sitting, but it is very intelligent because you're sitting but you're hearing about Krishna. So it's the lazy, intelligent way to progress in Krishna consciousness. So all that we have to give is keep everything to the side and just pay attention. Our mobiles can go in silent. Please make sure the mobile is silent and you are not on silent. Sometimes it happens the other way around. We are in silent and mobile is in general. It can be the other way around. We are in general mode and the mobile is in silent. So we see this point of Shravanam, of hearing. There is one personality on whom the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam is based. He who demonstrated unimaginable thirst to hear. He who left his kingdom completely. He who left all his family members, who left every single thing to sit on the banks of Ganga to hear from the lotus lips of Shukadev Goswami about the glories of Krishna. Who is the personality? Parikshit Maharaj. Very eager to hear. Interestingly, his son was very different. Who's Parikshit's son? Janamejaya. Very different. Generally in English we have a saying, like father, like son. Jaisa baap, waisa beta. Most cases, we have some special effects. It's almost like on the night of Krishna's appearance, there was thunderstorm and it was flashing, and then you had the Akashvani. It's almost like light was going and light was coming. So anyway, Parikshit Maharaj was very eager to hear, but his son was very different. Janamejaya, the son of Parikshit Maharaj, was least interested to hear. Least interested. He would do every single thing, but not interested in hearing. Now, Krishna conscious devotees are very intelligent, or at least they're supposed to be intelligent. Krishna Bhakta E Bada Chatur, Kaviraj Goswami says the quality of Krishna conscious devotees are they're very intelligent. Krishna Bhakta E Bada Chatur. So Vaishampayana Muni, he got to know that Janamejaya is not very interested. So he went to him and said only 2 words. He went to him and said just 2 words. First, please repeat, Vanabhangam, and second, Go Haranam. What is the first? Second? 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 First? Second? Go Haranam. We are all there. So first, Vanabhangam, and second, Go Haranam. He just said these 2 things. Now, just like we are curious, what do these words mean? Similarly, our Janamejaya, he was very curious. He told Vaishampayana Muni, you are just saying 2 words, what do they mean? So Vaishampayana Muni said, Vanabhangam. From Vanabhangam, he explained how Hanuman destroyed and set the whole Ashokvan on fire. Vanabhangam. And Go Haranam, Go means cow and Haranam means to steal. He explained as to how the cows of Maharaj Virat were stolen and Arjuna went and reclaimed it back. So Vanabhangam and Go Haranam. From Vanabhangam, he explained how Hanuman set the whole Ashokvan on fire. From Go Haranam, he explained how the cows of Maharaj Virata were stolen and Arjuna went and reclaimed them back. So naturally, Janamejaya said, well, this is only 1-line statement. Can you please explain more? Who is Hanuman and why did he set the whole thing on fire? And who is Maharaj Virat and Arjun and cows? Like, what is the story? It started with 1 word. It transitioned to 1 sentence. From that one sentence, Vaishampayana Muni was so intelligent, he explained the whole Ramayana. From Vanabhangam, he ended up explaining the whole Ramayana. And from Go Haranam, he ended up explaining Mahabharata. So that Janamejaya, who was least interested, he was tricked into hearing Ramayana and Mahabharata. Whether he wanted or not, he was given the medicine. Krishna Bhakta E Bada Chatur. Vanabhangam Go Haranam. I was recently in South Carolina for Janmashtami. So during the discussion, I made this point. And after the class, one very small boy, he came to me. And he said, Prabhuji, Virat had cows? I said, yeah, he had. He said, well, on the TV, I don't see that. He always comes with a bat. I said, not Virat Kohli. I said, Maharaj Virat. Their name is same, but not cricket wala Virat Kohli. And he was so innocent, I didn't even feel like saying a no to him. Very innocently he asked. So, not Virat Kohli, Maharaj Virat. It's a sad state that in India right now, Virat Kohli is more famous than Maharaj Virat. If you go outside and say Maharaj Virat, they will have a question mark on their face. You say Virat Kohli, they will say Virat Kohli, Anushka Sharma, 5 generations behind, 5 generations later. Like Shukadev Goswami, they will narrate everything. But Maharaj Virat, they have no idea. Sad reality. So he who had no taste now ends up hearing completely. So as we mentioned, general saying is like father, like son, but here there was an exception. The father was very glorious, but the son had no taste. But later he was tricked into hearing Krishna Katha. So the purpose of human life is meant to hear. In the pastime of Ajamil, today morning we were making this point of Ajamil, how names should not be shortened. In the pastime of Ajamil, it's a very interesting pastime. Sometimes we underestimate that pastime. Arey pata hai. Prabhuji Ajamil pata hai. Prahlad Maharaj pata hai. Gajendra pata hai. Ram pata hai. It is almost like Prabhuji, I have only written. Pata hai. Arey kya nahi pata? Sab pata hai. And you see, especially when you go for book distribution and other things back in India, you give Bhagavad Gita, pata hai. Kya pata hai? Karam karte jao, phal ki chinta mat karo. This one statement, somehow they have caught hold of it. They will have no idea what is the reference. They will have no idea what is the context that Krishna is using. But they will use it for their things. Karam karte jao, phal ki chinta mat karo. Jitna chahiye cricket khelo, records ki chinta mat karo. Do whatever you want. Don't take tension of the numbers. That is not what Krishna is saying. It's a concocted version. Krishna is not saying do whatever you want and don't worry about the results. There is some context in which Krishna is quoting the whole thing. So, after the pastime of Ajamil was done, the Yamadutas went to Yamaraj. Why? Yamaraj called all of them for the fact that he didn't want a sequel of Ajamil pastime. Again, this confusion should not happen. Once bitten, twice shy. Once this confusion has happened of Vishnu Dutas and Yamadutas, Yamaraj didn't want again this should happen. So he called all the Yamadutas. Conference call, Zoom call. He called all of them. So all of them came and they said, yes, Swami, what is the instruction? Yamaraj is a Mahajan. So they probably address Yamaraj as Swami. He is one of the Mahajans. So they went to Yamaraj and Yamaraj gives 3 things by which one will not go down to the lower planets. 3 things if we do, we will not go down. Are we interested in knowing what Yamaraj said? Yamaraj, he tells Yamadutas, Jivhana Vakti Bhagavad Gunanamadheyam Chetaschana Smarati Dacharanavinda Krishnaya no namati yachire kadapi Tannana yadhyamasato kritu Vishnu Krityan. 3 things. First, Jivhana Vakti Bhagavad Gunanamadheyam. He tells the Yamadutas, those who don't chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Those who don't chant Jivhana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanamadheyam. Second, Chetaschana Smarati Tacharanavinda. Those who don't remember the lotus feet of Krishna in their heart even once. And third, Krishnaya no namati Shira ekadapi. Those who say Nitai Sachinandan but don't offer obeisances. Yamaraj says, give such people a red carpet entry and bring them to me. If someone has not chanted once, if someone has not remembered Krishna once in their heart, and someone has not offered obeisances even once, we are not talking about 10,000, 100,000 times, once, then they are a sure shot candidate to go down to the lower planetary species. Jivhana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanam Adheyam Chetaschana Smaratita Charanarvinda Krishnaya no Namati Yat Shira Ekadapi Tan Anayadyam. He says, ऐसे लोग को red carpet entry दो. Give them red carpet entry and bring them to me. Because this is where they belong. So if we have chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, which we just did, if we have remembered Krishna once, and if we have offered obeisances even once, congratulate yourself, you are not going down. You are not going down. Next life, either we will go up or we will be where we are. But Krishna will make sure that opportunities are given more for Sadhu Sangha, from where we can launch ourselves. So this point is time and again made in Shastra, that the purpose of human life is to chant and is to hear. But Janamejaya was a little different. So he was strict. The father was into it. The son was not into it. One time, a boy went to his father and he said that, my dear father, Shri Ram became great by obeying his father, Dasharath Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj became great by not obeying his father, Hiranyakashipu. My dear father, what should I do? Should I obey you or should I not obey you? Logical question, right? Ram became great by following his father, Dasharath. Prahlad became Mahajan by not following his father, Hiranyakashipu. My dear father, what I should do? The father said, my dear son, Ram was in Treta Yuga. Prahlad was in Satya Yuga. We are in Kali Yuga. And in Kali, it is good for both of us that we follow your mother. There they followed the father and some didn't follow the father. In Kali, if you want Sukh Shanti Ghar Aave, you want peace in the house, follow your mother. The Matajis are very excited. Prabhujis are like, Are Prabhuji, kyun bole? That's the state of Kali. So we find that the ultimate reason why human life is given is to chant and hear. This is the only purpose, to chant and hear about the Supreme Lord. Vani gunanu kathane shravanau kathayam hastau cha karmasu manas tavapada yorna smritya shiras tava nivasa jagat praname drishti satam darshanestu bhavat tanunam. 10:38 Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami says, Vani gunanu kathane. What is the purpose of the tongue? Is it to sing Bollywood songs, Hollywood songs, to discuss about latest boycott of movies? Is that the reason why tongue is given? No. Vani gunanu kathane. It is to speak about Krishna. It is to chant his name. Vani gunanu kathane shravanau kathayam. The ears are meant not to listen to politics, not to listen to movies, to Bollywood songs, but it is meant to hear about the pastimes of Sri Krishna. There is already a mountain of junk in the heart, dear devotees. For lifetimes together, junk after junk after junk after junk. It's almost like a Mount Everest of junk. If we open our heart, we can see it's almost like a mountain of trash. What happens is when we hear anything but Krishna conscious, when we hear anything topics of this world, we are just adding more trash to the already trash that is present inside. Already बहुत कचरा भरा है, बहुत कचरा भरा है. Now if we hear Bollywood songs, Bollywood movies, the reason I'm saying about Bollywood is this is the classic thing. This is one time pass, quote unquote time pass. When people have nothing to do, they resort to Bollywood. This adds more trash. It adds more junk. And now to clear off that junk, it's going to take more and more and more lifetimes. Already, our level of bhakti, we know. self-explanatory. How much taste we have for the process, how much we are into Krishna consciousness, we know. Hands on our heart, we know how much we are into the process. Now, when we hear things of this world, it's just adding more and more junk. And to clear them off, it's going to take a very, very, very long time. So intelligence is when we start hearing about Krishna, because we know the pastimes of Krishna are going to vigorously clean. That is Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahatavagni Nirvapana. There is a forest fire that is there inside. We may think that, oh, Prabhuji, everything is going good. My job is there. My 401k is there. My salary is coming on time. My house loan is paid off. My auto insurance is going good. Everything is good. What forest fire are you talking about, Prabhuji? Whatever we have collected, it's just going to go back. When death strikes, when Yamaraj takes us, everything is as it is. So as it is, everything will stay back. Our house, our car, our Bank of America, our chase, our 401k, our family members, our relatives, everything is there as it is. Material nature, dear devotees, is so brutal. We are not even given time. Parikshit Maharaj was at least given 7 days. Our state is so difficult, we are not even given time. We never know when we are going to breathe our last. It is so brutal at any time, whether we want it or whether we don't want it. We are forcefully snatched from this world. People are crying around. Yet the Yamadutas don't care. Time is up. Time is up. So intelligence is when we understand that every single thing of this world will be left behind except my Krishna consciousness. When everything is going to be left behind, intelligence does not lie that we put maximum effort in that and least amount of effort in Krishna consciousness. Intelligence is when we do vice versa, because we understand it is only Krishna consciousness that can be taken ahead. Sab kuch chhut jayega. Everything will be left behind. And we know this. This is not something foreign. We know this. We have seen it. But Maya is so brutal and so powerful. Our mind thinks it happened with him, it will not happen with me. Uske saath hua, mere saath nahi hoga ye. My life is perfect, hale and hearty. And by the time the thunderbolt strikes, it may be very late. So human life, Manushya Jivan, is given for this one purpose, Krishna consciousness, period. Labdva sudurlavam idam bausambhavante manushyam artham anityam api hadira turnam yate tanapate tanu mrityu yavan nishreyashaya bhagavan khalu sarvatasya. Labdva sudurlabam. Human life is very rare. Very, very rare. Manushyam arthadam anityam. This bubble of human life can burst anytime. Age is not a barrier. Nowhere it is written that a 20-year-old cannot become a victim. Age is no barrier. So Prahlad Maharaj always makes this point very clear in his instructions. Kaumaram acharet pragyo dharman bhagavatam iha. Krishna consciousness should be started ASAP. The sooner, the better. As soon as possible. So the ears are meant to hear about the Supreme Lord. The tongue is meant to speak about the Supreme Lord. Vani gunanu kathane shravanau katayam hastau cha karma sumanas tava padayor. The hands are meant to serve the deities. The mind is meant to think about the Supreme Lord. Smritya shirastava nivasa jagat praname. The head is meant to offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord. And drishti satam darshanestu bhavat tanunam. The eyes are meant only to see Krishna. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would make a very strong point. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would say, when the eyes are used to see anything of this world, especially he would make this point of seeing the opposite gender, unrestricted, Krishna will think to himself, this is not the purpose of the eye. I better give the eye to someone who deserves it and who requires it. The I is wholeheartedly meant only to see Krishna and Krishna's devotees and anything in connection with Sri Krishna. So we are building up all this so that we understand how important this festival is of Radhastami, of hearing about Radharani, chanting Radharani's name, because without this, there is no question of making any advancement. It starts with Shravanam. Kirtanam is also later. Shravanam is the fuel to the Kirtanam. If there is no hearing, then the Kirtan is only to attract others. It will be only to attract others. Oh, they are going Facebook live, they are going Instagram live. It will be just for that. But if there is proper Shravanam, then there is purpose to Kirtanam. If there is Shravanam, then other limbs make sense. But if there is no purpose to hearing, if we don't hear, it's very, very difficult to make advancement. And hearing from a very exalted sadhu, ideally like our Gurujan, spiritual master, that results in fast purification. The heart gets cleaned very, very, very fast when we hear it from the right person, from someone who is very exalted. That is why Prabhupada always explains, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. One should have questions and approach a right personality. We are talking about Shravanam, and now we are transitioning to the point of approaching the right person. This is exactly the dilemma that Gadadhar Pandit had. Gadadhar Pandit in Gaur Leela, very close associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gadadhar Pandit was in search of a spiritual master. He wanted a spiritual master, so he went to Mukunda, another very close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went to Mukunda and requested him that, do you have a spiritual master in mind? I have IDC with me. I have letter of recommendation from the local temple, local GBC. Everything is there. Do you know of a spiritual master? And Mukunda held his hand and took him to Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Now, Pundarik Vidyanidhi is a very interesting personality. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who is also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dear servant, he would sit on high thrones. He would wear silken robes. His hair would be nicely oiled. Perfumes. People fanning on both sides. Chewing betel nut. You may have this question. Devotee? Very interesting devotee. But that's how Pundarik Vidyanidhi was. Very flashy lifestyle. Sitting on high place, expensive clothes, perfumes, hair nicely oiled, people to fan him. One betel nut would be done, and by the time it's almost done, the servants would put another betel nut into his mouth. Very flashy lifestyle. Now, for a minute, step into the shoes of Gadadhar. Gadadhar is being brought by Mukunda. Why? Because he wants a Guru Maharaj. And here is Guru Maharaj eating betel nut. Now just switch sides. If you are in search of Guru and your Guru Maharaj is like doing perfumes and very fancy cloth and hair nicely oiled, of course in ISKCON it's bald, so that thing doesn't work. He's chewing betel nut. What would our reaction be? Questions? Devotee? Leave alone spiritual master. Is he even a guru? Is he even devotee? Spiritual master to dur ka baat hai. Is he even a devotee? Gadadhar had the natural question. He didn't vocalize it. He didn't speak about it. But he had that thing. Where has Mukunda brought me? He could have taken me somewhere else. Who is this personality? And at that time, Mukunda understood that Gadadhar is having this question in his heart. So Mukunda chants a verse. Please repeat. Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam Jingham Sayapam Adabhya Sadhvi Lebhe Gatim Dhatri Uchitam tathonyam Kamvadayalam Sharanam Vrajema. Mukunda chanted this verse. What does this verse mean? Aho Baki Ayam. Baki means Bakasur. Bakasur, Aghasur, and Putana. 2 brothers, 1 sister. That is why I think in Hindi they say Teen Tigda Kaam Bigda. When these 3 come together, sab kaam bigad jate hain. Aghasur, Bakasur, and Putana. 2 brothers, 1 sister. Aho Baki Ayam. Oh, she is the sister of Bakasur. Stanakala Kutam. She came when she smeared poison. So we are again coming back to the point where we left off. We started with, we ended the first class with Putana. What happened? What happened?
Back to you looks what your hand said.
Oh, Putana. Putana. On record. Putana. Else? I am glad I solved this confusion here. Otherwise, I think next time when I would be here, she would definitely have some grudge against me. Putana, Aghasur, Bakasur, Trinavarta, Shakatasur, Kesi, Dhenukasur, Vatsasur, Kamsa. Krishna.
I feel like my brother, you said 2 brothers, 1 sister, so keep me.
I have no idea. This is my first visit, please. I don't even know the names. Oh, Krishna. Huh?
They don't have those qualities.
Thank you for coming to my rescue, Prabhuji. Next time I will be very careful. I think I will just say Putana. No brother, no sister. Putana ko bhai behen the hi nahi. Even if someone says, I will say no, Prabhuji, no bhai behen. I was thinking I didn't crack a joke. And they are laughing. What is the joke about? Now it makes sense. So what were we talking about? Putana. Putana. I will never forget you. I will definitely remember you. Of course, both the brothers also. Aho Baki Ayam Stanakala Kutam. Putana is being described. So we spoke about Putana's connection with Radharani. Now we are again coming back to Putana Mataji. Aho Baki Ayam Stanakala Kutam. When she came to Vrindavan, she smeared poison. Jingam Saya Paya Adhabya Sadhvi. A Sadhvi. She was not Sadhvi, she was not Sadhu, she was a Sadhvi. She was not saintly. Lebhe Gatim Datri Muchitam Tathonyam. But still, Lebhe Gatim, she got that Gati, that destination. What destination? Lebhe Gatim Dhatri. She became the mother, she became the nurse. And Krishna says, Uchitam, ye uchit hai. Don't think I was a little biased to her or anything. Krishna says, Uchitam, ye uchit hai. This is justice I've done to her. Kamva dayalum sharanam vrajema. Who can be more merciful than that Krishna who gave nectar to someone who wanted to give poison to him? Who can be more merciful? Definitely, Radharani is very merciful. So this verse was being quoted, describing Putana. Who chanted this verse, by the way, originally? It was Uddhav. The third canto, Uddhav chants this verse, and Shukadev Goswami naturally repeats it, quoting the pastime of Putana. And it's very interesting. Aho baki ayam stanaka lakutam. Kutam, this poison was such, there was no antidote. There was nothing you could do prior and nothing you could do later. Sanskrit is a very interesting language. Shukadev Goswami could have used the word Visha, which means poison. He doesn't use Visha. He uses Kutam, Kalakut. The same word is used in Samudra Manthan pastime, Kalakut. There is nothing you can do prior, nothing you can do after. And Jingam Saya Paya Adhabya Sadvi Lebe Gatim Dhatrim Uchitam Tatonyam. She got the highest destination. And this poison, we're talking about Putana, this poison is such. Long time back, I had read an article somewhere, and this was in connection with, we would have heard, there's a very famous poison called a cyanide. Very famous. And I think it's mentioned, most prominent, is during the time of Adolf Hitler. When he was ruling the Nazi party, it's believed that he didn't want to surrender to the opposition. So he just, like some crocin, he put cyanide inside his mouth and he died. Now, up until this point, I had heard. After that, I read something which was very bewildering. There have been 5 people in this world who have taken cyanide just to know what the taste is. They have taken cyanide like Mahaprasadam. They have had cyanide just to know what the taste is. And all of them have died by writing a letter S. Now, no one knows whether it is sweet, sour, salty, and if it's an Indian, Satyanash. Completely gone. But this poison of Putana is such, it's a million times more powerful than the present day cyanide. And she got that cyanide, that poison, to kill Krishna. And how old was Krishna? Well, he was 6 days. 6 days young, in fact. Just 6 days. And it's very interesting. This pastime of Putana is very interesting. When Putana, when she came to see Krishna, Krishna was there in the cradle. And our acharyas give multiple reasons why Krishna closed his eyes. When Putana came, Krishna closed his eyes. Shripad Harisuri gives multiple reasons. In the interest of time, I'm just naming one. In the previous incarnation, as Sri Ram ended up killing Tataka. And when he killed Tataka, Maya Sita, she said, "What is this? You killed a Mataji? What does this have? Some dignity? I mean, you're a Kshatriya, kill male. Why are you killing a Mataji?" Sri Ram, he said, "This incarnation, let me kill. Next incarnation, I will not use weapons. I will not use any weapons." So she said, okay. Next incarnation, he comes as Krishna. And when he comes as Krishna, Krishna closes his eyes. And Shripad Harisuri comments, Krishna was thinking to himself, in my previous incarnation, I came as Sri Ram. And the first demon who came was Tataka. But look at my destiny. The yuga has changed, my complexion has changed, form has changed, but still the first demon is Mataji. Hey Bhagavan, last time also first demon was Mataji, again first demon is Mataji. Shripad Harisuri says, thinking thus Krishna closed his eyes. कैसे भाग है हमारे भगवान है तो भी पहली माताजी आती है. They give so many reasons. So Krishna, as we know, ends up uplifting Putana. But back to our discussion. Who is in search of Guru? Gadadhar. And who is taking him? Mukunda. And who is the personality who is sitting on top? Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi has a very flashy lifestyle. This verse Mukunda chanted. And as Mukunda chanted this verse, even before he could end this verse, Pundarik Vidyanidhi got so ecstatic that he started ripping his cloth, his silken robes that were there. He started ripping everything. And from the top pedestal, he started rolling down. And he was ripping everything and he was crying, Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kucham, Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kucham, Lebe Gatim Dhatri Muchitam Tatuhonyam. He was chanting this verse. Oh, how can Krishna be so merciful that he is giving nectar to someone who is giving poison? Gadadhar was seeing everything. He who had questions earlier now was seeing this personality 5 minutes prior is chewing betel nut, and now by hearing one verse he is rolling down. So much so that Chaitanya Bhagavat describes Pundarik Vidyanidhi for 6 hours was rolling on the ground just by hearing one verse. We also heard that verse. We will roll at 10 o'clock at night in the bed. That's the time we roll. We also hear verses. We never get ecstasy. For 6 hours he was rolling. Vrindavan Das Thakur says. This is the same point Narottam Das Thakur is making. Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Leha Gauranga, Bhaja Gauranga, Leha Gauranga Naam Re, Je Jana Gauranga Bhaje, Seva Amar Prad Re, Je Jana Jana Re, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Leha Gauranga Naam Re, Bhaja Gauranga. Jai Jara Gauranga Bhaje, Seva Amar Prad Re, Jai Jara. Shri Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Leha Gaurangero Naam Re, Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje, Seva Amar Prad Re. Likewise he mentions Gauranga bolite habe pulak sharir, Hari Hari bolite nayane bhabe nir. He says, when will that day arise when I chant Gauranga, 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 Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki. He says, Gauranga bolite habe pulak sharir. When will that day arise when I chant Gauranga and my hair will stand on end? Our hair also stands on end. During winter, when there is no heater in the room, our hair also stands on end. We may also have cheers, but that is different and this is different. Jai Jana Gauranga Bhoje. So this is ecstasy, ecstatic symptoms. And here Pundarik Vidyanidhi for 6 hours was simply rolling on the ground. And Gadadhar, who saw this, he understood that he is someone very exalted. Someone very exalted. And after 6 hours, when the ecstasy subsided, he went to Pundarik Vidyanidhi. I have IDC. I have done disciples course. My temple president has given recommendation. Local GBC is also completely fine. Devotees are also ready to give recommendation. Can you please give Diksha? Of course, he didn't say this, but and Pundarik Vidyanidhi agreed. And Gadadhar became the disciple of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Now you may have the question, how is this connected to Radharani? What is the connection of Radharani here? The connection is, who is Gadadhar? Radharani. Who is Pundarik Vidyanidhi? Vrishabhanu Maharaj. It is again Putana who was instrumental in uniting the daughter and the father. In Krishna Lila also, Putana united the daughter. In Krishna Lila also, I have to be really careful. In Krishna Lila also, Putana united. In Gaur Lila also, Putana is uniting. In future yugas also, Putana will only unite. I think this time the hand was here. I don't know why the hand is. So, previous age, Putana united the father and the daughter. the father met the daughter because of Putana. In Gaur Leela, the daughter meets the father because of Putana. In Krishna Leela, the servant meets the master. In Gaur Leela, the master meets the servant and the cycle is complete. This pastime of Putana is very deep. So the next time when we hear pata hai, Prabhuji Shakatasur pata hai, Putana pata hai, it's worthwhile to think twice whether we really pata hai, whether we really know the pastime, because our Acharyas give so many beautiful connections. So this was part 2 of how Putana connected Srimati Radharani with the father Vrishabhanu Maharaj. And we see that, as we were making this point earlier also, that the prime purpose of human life is to hear and chant. And here Gadadhar, who is Radharani, is showing by example for the sadhakas that one should very submissively approach a bona fide spiritual master. Whoever we are, wherever we are from, how much ever bank balance we have, in Krishna consciousness, all that matters is how sincere and subordinate we are to our spiritual master and our superiors. Not just the spiritual master, to the devotees around also. Srimati Radharani is teaching us with this point of how to approach a very bona fide spiritual master, this dark age of Kali. And we find Srila Prabhupada, we're making this point of Shravanam and Kirtanam, going back and forth, and the importance of human life. Srila Prabhupada was once there in car, and there was a traffic jam. And there was a traffic jam, and there was a sign that was put: road works ahead, temporary inconvenience, permanent solution. There was traffic jam. There was a board that was put: temporary inconvenience, permanent solution. Prabhupada saw that and started laughing. Prabhupada said, no. Material world, temporary solution, permanent inconvenience. Permanent inconvenience. How much ever, whatever we do, kitna bhi haath pair mare, there is going to be a problem. Prabhupada was in a morning walk. Prabhupada pastimes are very catchy, very interesting. Srila Prabhupada was in a morning walk. This was in Laguna Beach, 1970. And one disciple of Prabhupada came to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, one American author has written a book. Prabhupada said, what is the name? The name of that book was I Am Okay, You're Okay. Name of the book. You can Google it. It's there. I am okay, you're okay. Prabhupada heard that, put his stick to the ground, and he said, no, go and tell him, I am okay, you're not okay. If you come to me, I will make you okay. I will make you okay. Spiritual master. Without approaching a bona fide sadhu, there is no question of making any advancement. And Gadadhar, that is Srimati Radharani, is showing by her personal example. Even if you're Ram, you need Vishwamitra Muni. If you're Krishna, you need Sandipani Muni and Bhagori Rishi. Sandipani Muni, he got taught 64 arts. Bhagori Rishi gave the Gayatri mantras to Krishna. So both are different. And generally, the person who gives you Gayatri mantras or initiates you is way higher. So Bhagori Rishi gave the Gayatri mantras to Krishna, while Sandipani Muni taught the 64 arts. If you're Ram, you need Gurudev. You're Krishna, you need Gurudev. You're Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you still need Ishvara Puri. If you're Gadadhar, that is Radharani, you still need a spiritual master. What to speak of you and I? How can we ever think that without Guru we will ever make advancement? Doesn't happen. There is no example in the history of any sampradaya, in fact, where without Guru the disciple made advancement. In fact, if there is no Guru, there is no question of disciple. No one makes any advancement without Sri Guru. So Srimati Radharani, who is the epitome of this point, is teaching us by example. It's 7:15. We'll just go for another 10 minutes and then we'll end. Should we end right now?
No.
10 minutes? 15 minutes? 25? 30? 40? 1 hour? When I said 15, it was yes, Prabhuji. 20? Yes. 30? Yes. 45? 1 hour? The yes went down and down and down. Haribol for prasadam or for? I know for you this is also prasadam, but I am saying for general audience. What's the upper limit? It's 7:15. Really, another 1 hour? We can definitely check. I am a madman. I am coming here just to serve. So y'all can decide what the upper limit of the time is. Oh, y'all. I didn't say that. Oh, okay. 30 minutes for questions. Okay. Let's see how much we go. Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. He gives a promise. The way you approach me, I will reciprocate. And most people, when they approach the Supreme Lord, what do they ask? Dhanam dehi, griham dehi. In that griham, grihini dehi, GC dehi, citizenship dehi, home loan paid off dehi. Typical. This is typical. Whether you're Seattle or Portland, this is typical. This is what we pray. And if you're a student, SAT should go well. ACT should go well. ACT should go well. If you're a master student, GRE should go well. Shankaracharya will say something very interesting. We are talking about desires and human life. He says something very interesting. Balavasta krida sakta. When you're small, very small child. Question?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay. Balavasta krida sakta. When someone is very small. Rasaraj's age. Very small. How old are you?
I am
10. Okay. Anyone less than 10? Oh, no one? Oh, I didn't even see her. Okay. Balavasta krida sakta. When children are very small, less than 10, what do they want? They want to play toys. If you're boys, it's almost rhyming. Toys, boys. I know it's a lame joke, but if you're boys, Hot Wheels. What are the other toys that boys use? Huh? What's that? What are the boys? What are the other toys? Okay, Lego. If you're huh?
They're fun.
God.
They're fun. Like the dark.
I'm definitely old. I did not follow what you said, but I'll pretend that I understood it. That's as far as the boys are concerned. If you're girls, maybe Barbie. That's the only thing I know. I'm sorry. Even when I said this in Seattle, the girls started laughing at me. I'm sorry. That's the only girl toy that I know. Anything else more? I'm pointing you for the right thing, right? Yes.
Lego friends. It's like Lego. Lego friends is like Lego.
Lego is like Tatastha for boys also, for girls also. Yes. What's that? Books.
Wow.
Where is your mother? Books for toys? Is she saying that voluntarily? Ki seeing you, she's feared to say what you want. Anyway, Balavasta Krida Sakta. When you're small, you want to play with these things. Different toys. Tarunavasta Taruniya Sakta. When you become 15, 17, 18, 18th birthday. Boys, they go to their dad. Bike. They see Doom and like, dada, 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 you want a bike. That's how Kali Yuga is. You see something and you're like so much. You go, 18th birthday, you go to your dad and like, want a bike. It doesn't end there. You want a it starts with a bike and then you want someone to sit behind that bike. You know what I'm talking about. Not you. I mean, I'm just saying. Shankaracharya is saying, Tarunavastha Taruni Asakta. You turn 18, you want a bike. By the time 20, you want someone to sit behind, flaunt, and like, you want that. And it doesn't end there. Like, you want to flaunt that bike, and the mood should also be like that. It should be windy. Your hair is like nicely blowing. That's how Kali is. Balavastha Krida Sakta. Tarunavastha Taruni Asakta. Shankaracharya is giving an example. When you tell the child, 5-year-old, to do bhakti, parents will say, Prabhuji, abhi to maja karne ka samay hai. It is small. Now it's the time to play. बाद में करेंगे प्रभुजी. भक्ति बाद में करेंगे. We'll do later. ठीक है? You turn 18. प्रभुजी, 18th birthday. Let him enjoy little bike. After that he will do bhakti. ठीक है प्रभुजी. You're 20. प्रभुजी अभी बाइक हो गया, कोई पीछे वाला भी चाहिए, थोड़ा फ्लॉन्ट करने के लिए वो भी चाहिए. ठीक है, you have that. You're 25. They tell प्रभुजी do bhakti. प्रभुजी अभी तो नौकरी है. 25 में नौकरी, 26 में छोकरी. 25 you have job and 26 you want to get married. So bhakti, it doesn't happen that time also. Then you ask them at 26. Mind you, I am 26. I should not have said that point in my class today morning. It backfired. So 26 you tell someone that Prabhuji now you do bhakti. They will say Prabhuji अब भी शादी हुआ है, थोड़ा मजा करने दो प्रभुजी. ये तो ऐश करने का समय है. Ash. It's the time to do ash. मजा करने का समय है. Not that ash, not Aishwarya Rai वाला ash. ये तो ash करने का. It is मजा करने का समय प्रभुजी. ठीक है? You turn 30. प्रभुजी अब तो भक्ति करो. प्रभुजी शादी वादी हो गया, एक बच्चा हो जाए प्रभुजी. बच्चे का मुख देख ले. We will see the face of our child. Then प्रभुजी we will do bhakti. Whatever you say we will do प्रभुजी. ठीक है? You are 30. You have a child. Then you ask them to do bhakti. They will say, प्रभुजी बच्चा तो हो गया, वो बच्चे का थोड़ा स्कूल में एडमिशन कराना है प्रभुजी. उसको अच्छे स्कूल में एडमिशन कराना है. We have to buy a property where schools are good. Petani? I am well updated. We want to buy a house where the schools are good. प्रभुजी एक बार अच्छा घर खरीद ले प्रभुजी, फिर भक्ति कर लेंगे. ठीक है? बच्चा हो गया, घर भी खरीद लिया. You're 35 प्रभुजी अब भक्ति कर लो. प्रभुजी घर का लोन है प्रभुजी, 1 million का घर खरीदा है, अभी बस 20% डाउन पेमेंट हुआ है. Our case is not different from Sudama. We, at the end of the month, we get all the money, whatever the X amount is, how much ever we make. At the end of the month, the money comes, PSEG bill, Wi-Fi bill, auto insurance, home loan, utilities, children's expense, wife's expense. No, I think Prabhujis will know very well. Husband's expense. I am not taking sides. Food, and by the time bachta, Tan Gopal, kuch bhi nahi hai. Our case of Sudama, money comes 31st of the month, money comes first, we are back to Sudama. The only difference is Sudama agreed is Sudama. We may or may not agree. With whatever money we have, we still want to show the world that like we are living a very flashy lifestyle. So they are 35. Please don't look at the devotees who are 35. It is just an example. I said 26 and it backfired. 35 is just an example. When someone is 35, you tell them to do bhakti. They have kid, they will say, Prabhuji, home loan hai, bachche ka school hai, Prabhuji. Once this is done, Prabhuji, 100% we will do bhakti. अच्छा ठीक है, स्कूल स्टार्ट हो गया, बच्चे का सब स्टार्ट हो गया, your work is also going on. They are about 40, 40, 43, 45. Now you tell them to do bhakti. Prabhuji, bhakti kar lete हैं Prabhuji. सच्ची Prabhuji, bhakti kar lete हैं. बच्चे लोग का college admissions. Their college admissions are there Prabhuji. अच्छा ठीक है. They are 45. Now they are about 50. Prabhuji, अब तो भक्ति कर लो. आधा जीवन तो ऐसे ही निकल गया. You are almost 50. Half century तो ऐसे ही मार लिया. It's very interesting, by the way. What do we say 50 in Hindi? What do we say 51 in Hindi? What do you say 52 in Hindi? So it's very interesting. After 50, Ikya 1, go to 1. Which one? Vrindavan. Ba 1, go to 1, Vrindavan. Once you're 50, take Vanaprastha and go to 1. Which one? Vrindavan. Ikya 1, Ba 1. And you see, when people generally are getting a little old and the hair becomes white, it always starts becoming white from near the ear. It's almost like the white hair is whispering in your ear, you're getting old. Ikyavan, Bavan, go to Vrindavan and do bhajan there. So they are about 50. They have still not started. Half life is gone. Now you tell them, home loan paid off. Car, everything is paid off. Children settled. अब तो कर लो भक्ति प्रभु जी. प्रभु जी, बच्चे का एक बार शादी हो जाए प्रभु जी. बच्चे का शादी हो जाए. एक बार शादी हो गया प्रभु जी, फिर बचा ही कुछ नहीं, सब हो गया फिर. Our responsibilities are done. Once my child, my daughter, son, daughter gets married, प्रभु जी 100% I will do bhakti. Son, daughter gets married. मुझे अब तो भक्ति करो, you're 60, अब तो भक्ति करो. प्रभु जी, पोते का एक बार मुख दर्शन हो जाए प्रभु जी. ग्रैंडसन, ग्रैंडडॉटर एक बार प्रभु जी, ग्रैंडचाइल्ड एक बार देखने दो, उसके बाद भक्ति करेंगे. You are about 65, अब तो भक्ति करो. And interestingly, that phase you find the children, the grandchildren, if they tell the grandparents at 4 o'clock I will be home, if it's 4:15, the grandparents will be standing outside. School bus nahi aaya. My child has not come back. My grandson has not come back. Pala vasta krida sakta, taruna sakta, taruni asakta, vriddha sakta, chinta sakta, para brahmana kopina sakta. Shankaracharya says people will keep giving excuses and they will not do bhakti. Human life will just go away by giving such lame excuses, but they will not do bhakti. They will want to experiment everything, but they will not take out time for performing Krishna consciousness. This is not intelligence. Intelligence is kaumaram acharet pragyo. As soon as possible, from a tender age, one should practice Krishna consciousness. So we were making this point. Krishna in the Gita, he says, Ye yathamam prapadyante, I will reciprocate. And we were saying how we demand from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada would always say, don't strike business deals with Krishna, because Krishna is a better businessman. Mukesh Ambani ka bhi baap hai Krishna. He is the Lord for everyone. Prabhupada would always say, don't strike business deals with Krishna. He is a better businessman than you. And that is not bhakti. That is not bhakti. So Krishna made the promise, Ye yathamam prapadyante, I will give. And based on what we ask, Krishna also gives us. But there are a set of devotees for whom this statement terribly, miserably failed. And they are the Brajagopis. This statement of Krishna, Ye yathamam prapadyante, failed terribly in front of the Brajagopis. Why? We see the first day of Kartik, Sharad Purnima. Kartik or Damodar month is always so blissful. Every house you have nice lamps, you have Damodar Aarti. Every night you have programs. Every night prasadam in different houses. It's a festive season. That 1 month is a complete festive season, and we are just a month away. Today is what, 3rd of September. Kartik starts, I think, 8th or 9th of October. We're just a month away. So we find that the Braja Gopis, on the night of Sharat Purnima, when Krishna played the flute, the Gopis left everything and ran towards Krishna. They just left everything and ran. The Kali Yuga way of understanding this is, wherever we are, when this rings, we become like the Gopis. This is like the flute of Kali. Whichever class we are sitting in, whatever we are doing, when this rings, like the Gopis, we run outside and attend the phone in a perverted way. This is like the phone, the flute. The phone becomes the flute. So Krishna played the flute to invite the Braja Gopis, and the Braja Gopis left everything and ran towards Krishna, not thinking whether they will even be accepted in the house. 5,000 years in the past. Even now, if a Mataji is there outside all night, there are going to be questions. The husband is going to ask questions. The in-laws are going to ask questions. 5,000 years in the past, we can't even imagine. And it was Vrindavan. It's a village. 5,000 years in the past, Krishna played the flute. The Gopis did not think anything, whether our husbands will accept us, whether our in-laws will accept us. They just left everything and ran towards Krishna. Who cares for our husband? The Gopis said that. Please don't apply that in your life. Please don't say Gopis said who care for their husband. We will also do the same thing. They are the Braja Gopis. They left everything and they came towards Krishna. And Krishna looked at them. This was Vamshivat. Krishna looked at them. And Krishna asked them, why have you come? You should go back. Your husband is waiting. Your in-laws are there. You should go back. Now please hear this attentively, dear devotees. Krishna plays the flute, invites them, and now tells them, go back. The Gopis were thinking Krishna is joking, right? They were talking about them saying, he's joking. He's definitely joking. He's kidding. He's not serious. He called us. He played the flute. He called us. And now he's saying, go back. Krishna was serious. Krishna said, go back. Your husbands are waiting. Your family is waiting. And Krishna started speaking philosophy. How you should be pativrata. How your husband is everything. How you should serve him, etc. The Gopis initially thought that Krishna is joking, but after one point they understood he is serious. He is not playing around. He is actually asking us to go. And he's saying, go and serve our husbands. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
How can you elaborate on how to serve them? That person getting the light.
Oh, Krishna.
Sorry.
Thank you. I think I can answer that question only when the remaining part of the sentence is self-explanatory. Probably you can say the way you want, you can say it. Prabhuji, Shastra mein to likha hai, real life mein doesn't work. Is Mataji there around? I almost feel I have become like Dwarkadish Prabhu and Vishaka Priya Mataji. I have come for like Rasta counseling. If those devotees are seeing online, they will definitely have a question. Prabhuji, you said you are single and you are having like Grahastha discussions. After the class, we will have our Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji. I will be the Arjuna and you become the Krishna. I will ask you questions. This is one thing I have no experience. So, we are talking about Sir the husbands. Before that, we said Sir the husband. Satyam. So, Krishna speaks philosophy. He says, well, you should be pativrata and you should serve your husbands. Go back. Initially, they thought Krishna, he's joking. He is not serious. Then they understood Krishna is very serious. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very wonderful commentary here. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the gopis, when they understood Krishna is very serious, they looked at Krishna and said, Krishna, there is a saying, practice before you preach. If you're preaching something, you should at least practice that. The gopis tell Krishna, you are saying, sir the husband, sir the husband, sir the husband, you are a lady, sir the husband. Krishna, we have a question for you. When you became a woman, which husband did you serve? Did Krishna become a woman? Mohini Murti. The gopis, they remember that and they tell Krishna, when you became a lady, when you became Mohini Murti, कौन से पति की सेवा की आपने? You are talking so much about pativrata, pati seva, this, that. Which husband did you serve? And that's true. Krishna did not serve any husband. He became Mohini Murti. He did not serve any husband. Krishna understood his game is up. His statement backfired. So Krishna kept quiet. And that's when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the gopis had the rasa dance. Now, not getting into the details of that. The reason we are making this point is, I want to make something very interesting here. The dance now culminated, and as we know how for Srimati Radharani, Krishna left the rasa dance. Seeing Radharani leave, Krishna also leaves the rasa dance. At this point, our acharyas say something very interesting. When Krishna left the rasa dance, eventually there was separation. And the Brajagopis, they started chanting or they started singing. In cheers of separation, they started singing the Gopi Geet. Jayati te dhikam janmana vraja shayata indira shashwadat rahe daita deshyata dikshutavaka Tvaedrita sava Tvamechevate. Gopi Geet, so wonderful. Maybe at the end, if we have time, we all can sing. With lights nice dim, we all can sing Gopi Geet. It's Radhastami, the parents' day of Radharani. Perfect occasion. Srimati Radharani ki, Rishabhani Srimati Radharani ki, Sarangani Srimati Radharani ki, Vrindavan Vinasiri Radharani ki, Vrindavan Biharini Srimati Radharani ki, Krishna Manamohini Srimati Radharani ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. This was primarily for those who were sleeping. Sound is so powerful. By hearing, we come back. So the gopis chanted Gopi Geet. And Krishna was hiding and he was hearing. Now please be attentive. Krishna was hiding and he was hearing. The gopis are chanting Gopi Geet. When the Gopi Geet ended, the 18 verses of Gopi Geet were chanted by everyone. The last verse, Sakshat Manmatha, that was chanted by Radharani exclusively. 18 verses was chanted by everyone. 19th verse was just Radharani. When Krishna heard Radharani chant, he couldn't hold on to himself. And Krishna comes out and he falls at the feet of Radharani. He falls at the feet of Srimati Radharani and tells Radharani, what can I give you? I cannot give you anything. Krishna says, Pratigya bhanga hoila gopira bhajane. Krishna's pratigya. What is the pratigya? Ye yathamam prapadyante. I will reciprocate based on how you approach me. Pratigya bhanga hoila. It was destroyed because he could not fulfill the heart's desire of the Braja Gopis. The Gopis do not want material desires. All they want is Krishna. All they want is Krishna. All they want is more and more and more service. Krishna falls at the feet of Radharani. And Krishna chants, Na parayeham niravadya samyujam swasadu krityam vibudayushapiva yama bhajandur jarage shrinkhalam samvrechayat pratiyati sadhunam. Krishna tells Srimati Radharani, Na parayeham niravadya samyujam. Oh Srimati Radharani, I have to admit, the service that you offer to me, I cannot reciprocate to your service even in the lifetime of Brahmaji. How many years does Brahma live? 311 trillion 40 billion years only. 311 trillion 40 billion years only. That's the lifespan of Brahmaji. Krishna says, my dear Radharani, oh Radhe, if you give me the whole lifespan of Brahma, 300 trillion years, still I will not be able to reciprocate to your service. I cannot give you anything. I cannot give you anything. For everyone else, I'm able to reciprocate, but oh Radhe, I cannot. Pratigya bhanga hoila gopira bhajane. The bhajan of the Braja Gopis was so powerful. Krishna had nothing to offer to them. Shivaram Maharaj writes a whole book on this called as Na Parayeham. There is a series called as Krishna and Vrindavan by Shivaram Maharaj, where he explains Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani. Then second is Damodar Janani. He writes a whole book on Maya Yashoda, Damodar Leela. And one of those books is Na Parayeham. The title of the book is Na Parayeham. The whole book is centered around this one statement of Krishna telling Radharani, Na Parayeham. I cannot give you anything in return because I don't have it. If you give me Brahma's lifespan, that much time, I still cannot give it. Kya do main aapko? For example, if I take $5,000 from Narottam Vilas Prabhu, not that I have taken, you can confirm, Prabhuji, I have not taken. If I take $5,000 from Narottam Vilas Prabhu and I tell Prabhuji, within 1 month I will give it back. Out of trust, he gives me $5,000. 1 month is done. I see him. He doesn't ask. I look up to him and I say, Prabhuji, 15 more days. Or 15 din do, Prabhuji, I will give you 5,000. After 15 days, Prabhuji, little more time, more 15 days. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. The $5,000 that I took from him with the guarantee that I will give back in 1 month, I am not able to give it back to him. Now what will I do? What's the alternative? I will go back to Narottam Vilas Prabhu. Prabhuji, maaf kar do. Forgive me. Don't use this trick. Don't go to him and extract money and then say maaf kar do. That is not the purport. After 1 year, I go back to him and say, Krishna, Narottam Vilas Prabhu, I took money from you with the guarantee that I will give it back. Maaf kar do, Prabhuji, main nahi de pa raha hu. And he says, Prabhuji, koi baat nahi, main pooch bhi nahi raha hu. But inside in my heart, I will have a guilt. I promised to Narottam Vilas Prabhu, I will give it. It is his magnanimity, he is not asking, but I promised to him I will give that 5,000 back, but I am not giving. Every time I see him, there will be guilt in the heart. I took, but couldn't give. What will I do? I will naturally want to avoid him because every time I see him, that thought will come in the mind. So I will naturally look for situations where I avoid him. I will run away to Seattle. I will go to Seattle where I know he will not come because I have taken, but I am not able to give. Does this analogy make sense up till now? This is exactly what happened with Krishna. He took so much love from the gopis. He took so much love from Srimati Radharani. Took, took with a guarantee I will give it back. But Krishna didn't understand that the gopis were far more superior. Srimati Radharani was far more superior. Krishna couldn't reciprocate. This is the reason, because Krishna cannot reciprocate to the love of the Braja gopis. Krishna runs away from Vrindavan. Because every time I see Radharani, I will feel I took so much from her, I did not give anything back to her. It is her magnanimity she is not asking, but I should have given something. And Krishna thought to himself, the best thing that I can do is leave Vrindavan and go to Mathura. Because Radharani is in Vrindavan, she will not come to Mathura. And if I am there in Mathura, I will not see Radharani, which means that, quote unquote, guilt will not be there in the heart that I took from Radhika, but I am not able to repay. Does this make sense? Krishna doesn't leave Vrindavan to kill Kamsa Maharaj. That is not the purpose why he leaves Braj. That even his Amsha can do. His expansions can also do. Krishna is coming. Prem ras niryas korite aswadan ragmarg bhakti loke korite pracharan. Rasika Shekhara Krishna Parama Karuna E Dui Hetu Hoite Ichhara Utkama. He's coming to reciprocate with the Brajavasis, but he fails when it comes to the Braja Gopis, especially Srimati Radharani. And now, because Krishna has nothing to offer in return, Krishna offers his pranam and leaves Vrindavan and goes to Mathura. But before leaving Portland and before I go to Seattle, I tell Narottam Vilas Prabhu that Prabhuji, if you forgive me, agar $5,000 आपने माफ कर दिया, if you forgive me, I will go around the world telling how great Narottam Vilas Prabhu is. He gave me $5,000, but is not asking anything in return. How great he is. Prabhuji, if you forgive me, I will do this as reciprocation. As prayaschitta, as atonement. This is what Krishna does. Krishna took so much from Radharani, but could not give anything back to Radharani. As prayaschitta, he comes down as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and for 48 years is crying Radhe, 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 glorifying Srimati Radharani at all place, at all times, at all circumstances. As prayaschitta, as Krishna, he took so much but couldn't give. But now he wants to glorify the person who gave so much. And this is there in Bhagavatam. Na parayeham niravadya samyujam swa sadhu. Who is that sadhu? It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna, after the Gopi Geet, tells Srimati Radharani, if you forgive me, I promise to you, in my next age, I will become a sadhu and I will glorify you like no one else. For the amount of time I am there in Kali, I will glorify you and that will be my prayaschitta. Radharani says, okay, whatever you feel is right. Radharani is not asking for anything. And this is, Krishna is finding it difficult. If you do something and you ask something in return, Krishna can settle scores. But when someone is not asking anything in return, it becomes very difficult. If you're only taking, and you're not able to give anything, it becomes difficult. It became extremely difficult for Krishna. First reason, he leaves Braj and goes to Mathura so that he can stay away. Because not that he doesn't like the Brajavasis, but because he is taken and he is not able to reciprocate. And second, Swa sadhu krityam vibudha ayushapi. He tells Srimati Radharani, O Radhe, if you do this one thing for me, as prayaschitta, if you forgive me, next incarnation I will come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and I will go around chanting your name day in and day out, day in and day out. And that is why we say, to fulfill that prayaschitta that happened during the Gopi Geet, Shri Krishna comes down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna Leela from the Gopi Geet connects to Gaur Leela, that is Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Leela and Gaur Leela are not different. It's like the ocean and the shore. The waters of the ocean touch the shore. While they touch the shore, they take some sand particles also. Krishna Leela and Gaur Leela go back and forth. Where Krishna Leela ends is where Gaur Leela begins. So that promise that Krishna had given, ye yathamam prapatyante, he couldn't fulfill. But as atonement, as prayaschitta, now he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, singing publicly the glories of Srimati Radharani as prayaschitta, that my dear Srimati Radharani, this is the only thing I can offer to you. I have nothing to give you. क्या दूं मैं आपको? कुछ नहीं है मेरे पास. I have nothing to give. This is one thing. Please accept it. And Radharani says, okay, whatever you give Krishna, I am ready to accept it. So this form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj would say, is Viraha Murti. It is the embodiment of separation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of separation. It is Viraha Murti. Gaur Nitai are very special, very exalted. It's very interesting that prior to Prabhupada starting ISKCON, the concept of Nityananda Prabhu, worshipping Nityananda Prabhu was never there. Even now we see, if we go to the Gaudiya Much of Saraswati Thakur, it is Gaur Gadadhar. It was Prabhupada's master plan to introduce Nityananda Prabhu on the altar. Because Prabhupada understands that Kaliyug ke jeev hai. Gadadhar has his benchmark. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has his benchmark. Krishna works on justice. Ye yathamam. Ye yathamam. 100 mark exam. If passing is 60, Krishna works on justice. You get 60, you pass. 59, you fail. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kripa. You get 58, grace mark. Even irrespective of whether you're qualified or not, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, ठीक है, आजा. थोड़ा कुछ कमी है, आजा. Nityananda Prabhu is so merciful. He says, you just come to the exam hall and write your name. I will pass you. You don't even study. Just come to the exam hall, write your name. आगे का मेरे ऊपर है. Krishna says, you study, get minimum 70, and then आगे का we will discuss. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, study, write the exam. If it is 57, 58, I will give you grace marks and I will take you ahead. Nityananda Prabhu says, you just come to the exam hall and write your name. There is no one more merciful than Nitai. Nitai na karura habe, braje Radha Krishna habe. Without Nityananda Prabhu, no one gets Radha Krishna. Nitai na bajilo mukhe, majila samsara sukhe, vidya kule kikori betar. Our acharyas described, if our education doesn't teach us to chant the name of Nitai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki, Shri Nityananda Rama ki, Shri Nityananda Rama ki. Nitai na bajilo mukhe, majila samsara sukhe, vidya kule kikori betar. What's the use of your education if that education is not teaching you to chant the name of Nityananda Prabhu? So prior to ISKCON, we had Gaur Gadadhar. It was Prabhupada's master plan to introduce Nityananda Prabhu on the altar. Because Nitai is meant for all of us. Patita Pavan is meant for all of us. We are Patit, he is Patita Pavan. The only catch is we have to admit we are Patit. If we admit we are Patit and he is Patita Pavan, then it's a perfect match. Ram Milai Jodi. It's a perfect match. The problem arises when we are Patit, but we think we are very advanced. When we are Patit, but we think we are very advanced. That's when the mismatch, the wavelength goes off. We know our chanting. Our chanting we know. 16 rounds, we wait when we will touch the Krishna beat of the 16th round. That 16th round will be done. We look for that hook. Tata Babe, see you tomorrow. I was at one place, very interesting, very hilarious. There was one devotee, I'm not naming. It was night 10:30, 10:45, and he picked up his bead bag. First round of the day. He started chanting. And interestingly, the chanting was very, very much interesting. Right hand was in the bead bag. The left hand was adjusting the bed sheet. It's already 10:45, right? Time to sleep. Left hand was adjusting the bed sheet. After that was done, hand is there in the bead bag chanting, comforter is there till here. The bed sheet is adjusted, comforter is there till here, like Mahavishnu sleeping pose, you're completely almost slept. And now the icing on the cake is this guy. Left hand him and right hand some mantra is going on. So I asked him that 11 o'clock at night, first round. So he said, Prabhuji, it is given in Shastra. I said, what? I was always told Brahma Muhurat mein chant karna chahiye. Show me the reference. I will also chant at 10:45 at night. He said, Prabhuji, it is given in Shastra. I said, where? He said, Ante Narayana Smriti. Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end, you should remember Krishna. I said, Ante Narayana Smriti means at the end of life you should remember, not end of day. That is not the purpose. Ante Narayana Smriti means at the end of life you should remember Krishna, not din ke end mein. He was serious. He said, Prabhuji, Krishna is saying Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end you should remember Krishna. I am remembering Krishna at the end. I said, okay. Devotees sometimes have very interesting answers. Even if you know it is wrong, you still don't want to oppose them because the answer is very hilarious. So our chanting, we know. Hand is there in the bead bag. This hand mobile is there. Here bed sheet is being adjusted. Pillow cover. Comforter till here. And here mobile, here the index finger is outside, but that index finger is also pointing, giving directions. Husband will give instruction to the wife, wife will give instruction to the husband. And if that is not there, this finger is used for WhatsApp, Facebook. I think if Prabhupada knew that this is the purpose of the index finger, he would have covered it. If he knew that we are going to use it this way, he would have stitched that part also. This is our chanting. And see, everyone is laughing. सबको पता है. Whether we agree it outside or not, घर में पता है. हमारा chanting ऐसी है. So, Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu is Patit Pavan. And we are Patis. If we agree we are Patis, then he will protect. The problem arises is when we are Patit, but we are convinced we are advanced. We are convinced we are advanced. Like Srila Radhanath Maharaj says, in Bhakti, it's a very interesting science. The more we think we are exalted, the more we will fall down. And the more we are humble, we are low, the more we will advance. If there is an iota of pride in the heart, what to speak of Krishna, even Radharani doesn't look at anyone. And I want to just end this discussion by quoting a very interesting pastime. Srila Radhana Swami Maharaj was there in Chowpatty. For those devotees who have been to Chowpatty. How many have been to Chowpatty? Oh, only handful? Okay. So Maharaj was in Chowpatty, and for those devotees who have been to Chowpatty, it has Govindas. Most Indian temples have Govindas. That's sometimes a big drawback of living in America. If you feel like eating outside, most temples don't have it. Unless and until it's Kalachandji or it's the Houston temple. Very few temples in North America have a proper restaurant. So Maharaj was there and he was coming out from the temple and the restaurant was there. It was a day of fasting. And Maharaj was accompanied with one devotee. And outside the Chowpatty Govindas, there was on a fasting day, one devotee was nicely eating one full slice of pizza, loaded with cheese. Eating and the cheese is like coming outside. You know that. You know that Leela, that pastime that happens. That very wonderful pastime that happens when you take a slice of... Is the dinner pizza, by the way? No, right? I was at one place and I was saying this and I was giving the example of Matar Paneer. And interestingly, the host came up to me and said, Prabhuji, how did you know? Did you come prior and see what we have prepared? I said, I just gave an example. So I hope the menu is not pizza today. So that devotee was eating pizza. And this devotee who was there with Srila Radhanath Maharaj, he told Radhanath Maharaj, fasting day, eating pizza, unnecessary. Aag lagana. Unnecessary. In Hindi, you say chugli karna. Most times Narad Muni is attributed to that, chugli karna. Unnecessary aag lagana. He told this to Srila Radhanath Maharaj, Maharaj, fasting day, eating pizza. Now he thought that Maharaj will go and chastise him. That look how this devotee is fasting, why are you not fasting, this and that. This was his thought. And Maharaj heard that. And Maharaj gave such an amazing reply. Such a wonderful reply. Something I can never forget. Maharaj told this devotee who was accompanying him. Maharaj said, for him, his stomach is feasting, but his ego is fasting. For you, your ego is feasting, but your stomach is fasting. And between the two, he is better. It's better to eat something, but to be without pride than to have this notion that, well, I am fasting, this devotee is eating something, I am advanced. Sometimes we have it. When on a fasting day, we see someone eating something, we think, look, I was able to fast nicely. He broke the fast in front of me. I am more advanced. Prabhuji, mano ya na mano, we are advanced, Prabhuji. We are convinced. We are advanced. So Maharaj made such a strong statement. He said, for him, his ego is fasting, but his stomach is feasting. For you, your stomach is fasting, but your ego is feasting. And when ego is feasting, Radha Gopinaths are not interested in whatever you do. When there is pride in whatever you do, Krishna is not interested. When we are cooking for a fact that, oh, Sunday feast I will cook. After the Sunday feast is done, Jai Sachinandan Prabhu will announce that this Prabhuji, this Mataji made the cake. This Mataji, this Prabhuji made Rasgulla. This Mataji, this Prabhuji made Matar Paneer or pizza. If that is the mood that we carry, we may impress everyone around, but Krishna may not be impressed. If the reason why we are giving classes is people will appreciate me, it will be Facebook Live, tens and thousands of people will clap. If this is the mood that we carry, Krishna is not interested. People around may clap, but Krishna is not interested. If we are doing kirtan, so that people clap, people appreciate, Krishna is not interested in that. Krishna wants simplicity of the heart. Those who are simple attract Krishna. We don't have to do any fancy stuff, dear devotees. We have to be simple. Is it difficult to be simple? In Kali, it is very difficult. In Kali, to be simple is a very difficult task. But that is what Krishna is asking. Just be simple. Simplicity attracts Krishna. Genuine sincerity attracts Krishna. And this point is made by Prahlad Maharaj. I end with this. Prahlad Maharaj, in the 7th canto, he re-emphasizes this point multiple times. Manye dhanabhijana rupa tapashrutojas teja prabhava bala paurusha buddhi yoga nara dhanani bhavanti parasya pumsam bhaktya tutoshna bhagavan gajayutapaya. 799 Bhagavatam. Manye dhana, our wealth doesn't attract Krishna. What will our $10 attract? He is Lakshmi Kant. Lakshmi is serving his lotus feet. What our $10, $15 will attract him? Manye dhana abhijana, our followers, our wealth, our followers, our intelligence, our education, our strength, our yogic abilities, our so-called beauty. All these things put together also. Naradhanani bhavanti parasya pumsam. Prahlad Maharaj says, if this is how you plan to attract Krishna, I am sorry to tell you, Krishna will not be attracted with this. He is not looking for this. Because these things he already has in much better quantity-wise and quality-wise than us. How will we attract him? And Prahlad Maharaj ends by saying, Bhaktya tu toshna bhagavan gajayutapaye. It is only bhakti that attracts Krishna. Bhakti coupled with sincerity. And he gives the example of Gajendra. What did Gajendra have? Four-legged animal. Did he have money? No. Intelligence? No. Fan following? No. Nothing. What did he have? He had nothing. All that Gajendra did with a simple heart, picked up a lotus and offered it to Krishna. And Krishna flew faster than Garuda to protect Gajendra. What did he have? Simplicity of the heart. So Krishna is not looking for big, fancy stuff. Just simple devotion. Not to attract the audience, but to attract Krishna. That is our focus. Krishna consciousness is one pointed laser focus to attract Krishna. Not to attract people around. If that is the agenda to attract people around, then Krishna may or may not be attracted by our devotion. But if the focus is primarily meant to attract Krishna, then as Prahlad Maharaj says, gives the example of Gajendra. Bhaktya tutoshna bhagavan gajayutapaya. This is only one thing that attracts Krishna, that is bhakti. Having said this, I very humbly want to stop here with this mood that Srimati Radharani as Gadadhar is teaching us, that to advance on this path of Krishna Bhakti, it is of paramount importance that we approach a bona fide spiritual master, number one. Second, we have humility in the heart. Gadadhar never thought to himself, oh, hey, I know so much, he is having betel nut and all these things, I am advanced. I am a superior devotee. Gadadhar never said. He was simple. And simplicity caught the attention of Mukunda and Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So Radharani is teaching us that first, approach a bona fide spiritual master and with full sincerity follow their instructions. Whatever they say in their classes, whether it is personal instruction or in their classes when they travel around. When a disciple follows that with full, genuine, heartfelt sincerity, advancement is guaranteed. Advancement is completely guaranteed. So, offering my obeisances to that Gadadhar Pandit who came down in Gaurlila as Srimati Radharani, who came down as Gadadhar Pandit to help Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taste the fruit of Radha Bhav. I very humbly end my discussion. Shri Gadadhar Pandit ki, Srimati Radharani ki, Pundarik Vidyanidhi ki, Mukunda ki, Putana Mataji ki, Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Jai. Yes. It's 8:10. I think someone had said about questions. I don't know what's the. Are we already hungry or how many questions do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, 5. 5. So should we take these questions right away and then head towards Prasad, or how should we do it? He is making that his thing is sorted out. आप लोग प्रभु जी देख लो मेरा होना चाहिए. ठीक है, we'll quickly take questions. I would love to, if devotees are ready to wait. After Prasad. After Prasad. I am also hungry. After Prasad, those who want to wait, and tomorrow is anyway chutti. We can have it. But before that, we'll take Q&A quickly. Yes, Prabhuji.
One question is whenever Krishna plays the flute, why gopis go? Why not Prabhu go? the second question is,
That's a very logical question.
what was the reason like Krishna couldn't do back gopis or Radha? What exactly Radharani wanted from Krishna? What gopis wanted from Krishna? Because Krishna was accompanying gopis, right? He has rasas and all that. But what exactly they wanted, despite to satisfy them, why he has to go become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give them that?
Okay, so the first question is, when Krishna plays the flute, why only gopis go? Why not the friends go? Valid question. And second is, what was the second one?
What was Krishna?
Oh yes, what was the thing that gopis asked that Krishna couldn't reciprocate or he couldn't give? And why did he have to orchestrate the whole pastime and come down as Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu? As far as first question is concerned, if I call Narottam Vilas Prabhu, will Gopal come? No, only Narottam Vilas Prabhu will come. Similarly, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when Krishna plays the flute, through the sound of the flute, Krishna calls out to the Braja Gopis. It is embedded. It's completely locked. No one else can understand. No one else can break the code. When Krishna plays the flute, it's meant to call out Radharani, meant to call out Lalita, meant to call out Vishaka, etc. So it's primarily focused for them. Even though externally it may just be no, or whatever the flute sound is. Internally, the gopis realize that Krishna is playing the flute for us because their name is called, and naturally they go. Similarly, Krishna does even for the cows. When Krishna is there at Terkadam in Vrindavan, Krishna to call out to his cows, Krishna plays the flute. Through the sound of the flute, Krishna will call out to the cows. Dhavali! Then Dhavali will come. Kumkumi! Krishna has a cow called as Kumkumi. Why? Because she is red in color. Chandani! Chandani is Chandan color, yellow color. Krishna has one cow, very interesting name, Mridanga Mukhi. Her face is like a Mridanga. So Krishna has named her Mridanga Mukhi. Mridanga Mukhi. Krishna calls out. But now, when Krishna calls out, all these cows come. There are some naughty cows who need personal attention. They will not come when Krishna calls out random. When everyone is gone, they will still be standing. Krishna should call me personally. So then when everyone has come back, now Krishna will say, oh, this cow has not come. Krishna will call out, Kalindi. Kalindi will nicely walk and come. Amidst other cows, Kalindi like a royal cow will walk. Personal attention. Even cows have that. How is Krishna doing that? Venu. This is why Venu Geet is glorious in the 10th canto. Because Shukadev Goswami and the Acharyas describe Venu like unparalleled. That is point one. As far as the second question is concerned, what were the gopis asking? That is the problem. If gopis asked something, Krishna could give. The gopis were not asking anything in return. Radharani is not asking anything in return. Krishna is taking from them, but is not able to give anything because they don't want anything. They don't want anything. Radharani doesn't want anything. Krishna, like Srimati Radharani, for other devotees we find in other rasas, Krishna can reciprocate to them because they're asking Krishna for something. But when it comes to Radhika, when it comes to the Braja Gopis, they don't ask anything to Krishna. And Krishna is asking them, if you want something, I can give you. They don't want anything. They don't want anything. And Krishna is baffled. I am doing so much for you. Ask something. Kuch to pucho. Radharani says nothing. I don't want anything. And Krishna is scratching his head. What love is this? She is coming from me, but she is attracting my heart. What love is this? Krishna is not able to understand. Just like we sometimes have a question. Radharani is coming from Krishna, but she becomes superior to Krishna. She attracts the heart of Krishna. How? How is it that someone who's coming from me becomes superior than me? They have to be equal, right? Radharani is coming from Krishna, but how is Radhika superior? Krishna is not able to understand. What is going on in the heart of Radharani, Krishna is not able to understand. Our Acharya is given an example. For example, there is a sugar cube. When you keep a sugar cube on the floor, what happens? Ants from all sides, they start coming. The ants start coming and they start eating the sugar cube. The sugar cube is thinking to himself, मेरे में क्या देखा? What is it in me that is attracting the ants? The sugar cube is a sugar cube, but the sugar cube is thinking, मेरे में क्या देखा? What is it that they're all coming to me? How I wish I become the ant, and being an ant, I experience eating a sugar cube. Then maybe I will understand what is there in me. Does that make sense? Similarly, Krishna is like that sugar cube. Everyone who are coming to him, they're just taking from him. Krishna is thinking, mere mein kya dekha? What is it in me that is attracting them so much? How I wish I switch sides and become Radharani, and from Radhika's eyes I see what is going on in her heart when I come face to face. When Krishna comes face to face in front of Radharani, what is going on in Radhika's heart is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to experience. Taking the mood, taking the lens of Radharani, seeing from the vision of Radharani, what she feels when Krishna reciprocates. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya avatirana kalau samarpaitum unnata ujjvala rasam svabhakti shriyam Haripurata Sundara Dviti Kadamba Sandipita Sadardaya Kandare Spuratuva Sachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti Rasmad Ekad Manav Abhibhuvipuram Deha Bedam Gatautau Chaitanyakyam Prakatamaduna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Dviti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Ki Drishova Nayena Adilila chapter 1 text 4, 5, 6 internal reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this book. There Prabhupada explains why Krishna had to become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and what was the need to see from the eyes of Radharani. Does that help? Hare Krishna. Yes.
It is important to be not envious of Radharani because it's really not. After I have given any comments around it is the right thing to do or wrong, how to not be.
How to not be envious of Radharani? Why would you want to be envious of Radharani? As far as Madhurya Rasa is concerned, it's a very wide spectrum. Radharani definitely is favorite. But at the same time, Krishna also likes his friends. Krishna likes Sudam, Madhumangal, Sridam, Vasudam, Kinkini, Arjun Sakha. Arjun Sakha is one friend of Krishna, by the way. His name is Arjun Sakha. One understanding of Arjun Sakha, by the way, is Arjun's Sakha, that is Krishna. That is Pandava. Pandava Arjun's Sakha is Krishna. But the Braj understanding is Krishna has a friend by the name Arjun Sakha. He's about 13 years old and he's like golden complexion. Rup Goswami explains. So Krishna likes Radhika as far as Madhurya is concerned. Krishna likes his friends. Krishna likes Maya Yashoda. Krishna likes Andababa. Krishna likes Lalita and Vishakha. Krishna likes everyone. Krishna likes everyone. The reason Radharani is glorious is because what Radharani does for Krishna, no one else can. If we are in a position to do what Radharani is doing, well, then we are also glorious. Then Krishna will accept us also in that same position. Unfortunately, we cannot offer what Radharani is offering. Lakshmi Devi, when she was in Vaikuntha massaging the feet of Vishnu, Narad Muni came there and spoke about Krishna in Vrindavan. She got so enamored by the beauty of Krishna that she left Vaikuntha. She was thinking, my husband is always sleeping. He is not doing anything. He is only sleeping. Krishna is playing flute He has cows. He has monkeys. He's breaking pots. He's eating butter. Middle of the night, he sneaks out. He has pastimes. He is so wonderful. My husband, my husband is not very interactive. He's little transcendentally boring. Narad, when he spoke about Krishna and Vrindavan, she got attracted. She comes down to bail one. She does tapasya. Krishna comes to her. Krishna says, what do you want? She says, well, whatever you give other gopis, I also want. Krishna says, you want to enter the dancing arena? Lakshmi ji says, yeah, if that's possible, I want to enter. Krishna says, okay, there are 3 conditions. You fulfill these conditions, you come. So Lakshmi ji said, okay, what is the first condition? Krishna said, the first condition is you have to give up your opulent attire. She's Lakshmi, she's very opulent. You have to give up your opulent attire. And Brajvasi, Brajagopis means they are very simple. Lakshmi ji said, yeah, this I can do, this I will do. Second, what is second? Krishna said, second is the Brajagopis take the cow dung with their hand. Nicely, the Mahaprasadam comes and with their hand they take. I know it's a little graphic. They take with their hand and then they make chapatis, cow dung patties, and they stick that to the walls. Why? Because the wall should be cool. This is what the Brajagopis do primarily. Krishna said, can you do this? Lakshmi, goddess of fortune, is being asked to make cow dung patties and remove cow dung from her hand. Even we will think twice. Even we will think twice. We know cow is Gau Mata, 33 crore demigods, all these things we know. But with our hands, we will think twice. Lakshmi said, difficult, but I will do it. Krishna said, okay. What is the third? Krishna said, third and the last thing is you have to get married to someone else and in the middle of the night sneak out and come and meet me. Lakshmi said, what? I am there with my husband Vishnu, then I come here and then I get married to someone and middle of the night, like some hero, I run out. You play the flute and I run out and I am not married to you, I am married to someone else. What is this? Krishna said, exactly. That's what the gopis do. They are married to someone else. Middle of the night, they sneak out and they come. And my dear Lakshmi, because you cannot do this, I am sorry. No entrance. Till this date, Lakshmi ji is doing tapasya and Belwan. It's been more than thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Lakshmi is not getting entrance to Krishna's Madhurya pastimes. That is the benchmark we are talking about. It's not some Romeo Juliet dancing. It's not some Shah Rukh Khan doing some dance poses. It's a very deep esoteric pastime. Lakshmi ji finds it difficult to enter. You can understand how great that pastime has to be. If Lakshmi is finding it difficult, let's go to Mahadev. Lord Shiva, he got to know that Krishna is so wonderful, he is dancing. In fact, when Krishna dances, Krishna's dancing is so wonderful that Mahadev stops dancing. Mahadev takes notes. Because this Arangetram, even Lord Shiva has not seen. This new dance steps, even Lord Shiva has not seen. So he takes steps, notes. And now he had this desire to enter Krishna's pastimes. He takes dip in one of the kunds and comes out as a female, a male, but as a female, internally male, externally female. He comes out. Now he enters Krishna's dancing arena. Radharani and Krishna were dancing. Radharani stops in between and Radharani says, Krishna, I am not feeling that ecstasy that we normally have. You see, sometimes it happens if you are having a class and if everyone is like-minded, then it is fun. But in the middle, if there is one person who is atheist, asking questions, troubling in between, the whole rasa gets disturbed completely. We are like, Arey ja yaar ghar. You're better off when you're home. You're spoiling the mood of the discussion. Radharani was telling Krishna, I am not feeling that ecstasy. Every day we I have that ecstasy. I'm not feeling it today. So they started looking around. All the gopis are familiar. Who is this gopi? They started asking, do you know? Said no. Interestingly, Mahadev entered the dancing arena. Everything was perfect. But what to do? Old habits die hard. He forgot to take off his damru. His damru was popping. Damru wali sakhi. So everything was right. The damru was still there. And the gopis looked and said, Damru wali sakhi? Where are you from? So they cornered. They kind of made a circle and they asked, what is your name? No name. His name is Mahadev. He cannot say Mahadev. Imagine it's night time and you see a person with snake around his neck, skeleton mala, ashes all over his body, and deer skin. Night 12 o'clock, lights are off, and then you see this transcendental personality. What will your reaction be? You'll be afraid. You'll be afraid. Mahadev is like that. So he cannot say he's Mahadev, so he doesn't say his name. Such what is your husband's name? What husband? There's no husband. He just took bath in a pond. There's no husband. What is the name of your in-laws? What in-laws? There are no in-laws. What are you talking about? Achha, what is your village? No village. What is the service that you do? What does your husband do? They were thinking this. Is she dumb? She's not able to speak anything. We are asking so many questions. She's not speaking anything. Who is this Damru wali sakhi? Not speaking. How can he speak? He's Mahadev. How can he speak? Krishna understands. And Krishna tells Mahadev, you can get entrance into this pastime, but not as someone who dances, but as a dwarapal, as a doorkeeper. Because this form of yours is very difficult to accept, especially at night time. So he becomes Gopeshwar Mahadev and he becomes the dwarapal of the rasa dance. And this is why in Braj Parikramas they always say, when you go to Vrindavan, first take darshan of Gopeshwar Mahadev because he's the dwarapal. You don't enter the house without meeting the dwarpal. You meet the dwarpal, the doorkeeper, then you enter the house. Gopeshwar Mahadev is the dwarpal. Without his darshan, we don't start our Braj Parikrama. So that is the benchmark to get to Krishna's pastimes. So now we can imagine Mahadev is finding it difficult. Lakshmi finds it difficult. Uddhava is begging to become a blade of grass. Brahmaji is becoming the four hills of Barsana. What will be the level of Krishna's pastimes in Braj? Sakhya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, Madhurya Ras, Gopis of Vrindavan, Lalita, Vishakha, and then Srimati Radharani. Radharani is in a very, 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 very high point. The services that she does, no one comes even closer. No one comes closer. So envy is when we are able to match, but we are not getting equal reciprocation. Here, our problem is we are not able to match Radharani, and we will never be able to match Radharani. If you are able to match the amount of services that Sarvashakti Mataji, yes. If you are able to match the amount of services that Sarvashakti Mataji does, then there may be a question of envy. We are both doing the same service with the same energy and enthusiasm. Why is Sarvashakti Mataji praised in all the congregations? Why I am not praised? That question arises when the service is same and we are able to do with the same intensity to that same level. Here that question only doesn't arise because we are not even near the foot dust of Srimati Radharani. Leave alone competing with her and being better than her. Does that make sense? Can we go back to the boys? Boys group.
Guruji, you said that the gopis don't ask for anything they don't. The reason why it's so hard for Krishna to satisfy them is because they don't even ask anything in the first place. Is that the same with Rukmini? Is that the same with her, or is that different?
That mood is different. In Braj, the mood is Parakhiya. Outside of Braj, it's Swakhiya. Even though when Krishna leaves Vrindavan and becomes Mathura Krishna, Dwarka Krishna, Srimati Radharani leaves as Satyabhama. Rukmini leaves as Chandravali. Lalita Sakhi leaves as Jambavati. But even though they are expansions, they are not the complete person. There is a difference in mood. Even Satyabhama and Radharani, there is a difference of mood. Even though it's an expansion, it's an amsha. The real person is Radharani. Just like Krishna and Vrindavan is the real. But Krishna and Mathura, Krishna and Dwarka, they're expansions. But as far as sweetness is concerned, they are not even close to Krishna and Vrindavan. It's the same Krishna. But now, after expansion, there is a change in mood. Make sense?
Wait, so expansion of
Chandravali. When Chandravali expands, when Krishna leaves Braj, Chandravali leaves as Rukmini. Radhika leaves as Satyabhama.
Okay.
So there is a difference of mood. Yes.
So you said that when Radharani, she came out of, she was born from Krishna. She originated from Krishna.
Correct.
I don't know if I have the incorrect understanding, but like I was thinking that, like I know, like us as Jiva souls, we've always been eternal with Krishna. Like we weren't born from Krishna, but we were always there at a subservient position, but we always existed. And that's what I thought was the same with Radharani. She always existed. Like, but that's just how it was. Like Krishna was always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we were always just parts and parcels, but we always existed.
Correct. So Prabhupada gives an example for this. Prabhupada says, just like, so correct me if I'm wrong. So the question here is, we made this point that Radharani comes from Krishna. She sprang from the heart of Krishna. While at the same time, we have our origin in Krishna. Correct? Is that
like
we are also coming from Krishna?
Like we've all existed eternally in relation to Krishna, but we didn't come from. I thought I don't know if that's the wrong understanding.
I wish actually last week we did a youth camp in Seattle and we explained this with a board and a pen about the creation, where our origin is, what are the three types of Vishnu, three types of Mahadev, were we there with Krishna and Vrindavan, or are we having our origin Karana, Dakshaya, Vishnu, etc. I wish that was completely recorded. They had just recorded portions. So to keep it really short, did we always exist? Yes. Like Prabhupada gives this example that comes to my mind. Prabhupada says, just like a child always existed in the father, the form was different. Correct? He's always existing, but when the time comes, he manifests outside. Similarly, jivas are already present in Krishna. Make sense? Prabhupada gives this example. Next question. Prabhupada's examples are like really powerful, practical examples.
I got that.
Correct. Yes. It's 8:34. How many more questions? One. हाँ घर में कर लेंगे. Yes.
So probably, what we understand is.
Can you stop the recording? Yes, ma'am.
So. Krishna resides in all the souls as the heart. So he would be residing in of Vrindavan and Gopis and Radharani also. So why it was so difficult for him to understand their heart? Why he had to come back again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand the heart of Radharani?
If Krishna is Paramatma and he knows everything, Bhutani cha bhavishyani mam tu vedan kashchana. I know past, present, and future. How is it that he did not know the heart of the Brajavasis? Our acharyas explain Krishna has two moods, Mugdha and Sarvagya. Sarvagya is when he is all knowing. सब कुछ पता है. Gita, he speaks the Bhagavad Gita. Mathura, Dwaraka, that is Sarvagya. Sarvagya aspect of the Supreme Lord. He knows everything. Mugdha is when he is concealed. When Yogamaya conceals Krishna, when Yogamaya puts a covering upon Krishna, Krishna forgets he is God. Krishna forgets. Yogamaya is Krishna Shakti. On purpose, Yogamaya puts the veil on Krishna so that Krishna forgets he is God. Because if he remembers he is God, he cannot experience Vrindavan pastimes the way he is doing. Stealing butter, lying, cheating, eating dirt from the ground. God will not do all these things. If he knows he is God, the way he will behave is different. But when he forgets he is God and he behaves, he is convinced that he is human-like. I am Yashodanandan. I am just some ordinary child of Vrindavan. The rasa that manifests is extraordinary. And Krishna wants this. He wants to come down to this world and experience the unalloyed, sweet love of the Brajavasis. But if he's God, then the mood is like Jai and Vijay. Sahasrasa Shirasha Purusha. It is all mantra. It is awe and reverence. Jai and Vijay have awe and reverence. Krishna's friends, they go and slap Krishna. They go and slap Krishna. They go and tell Krishna, Sakha Shuddha Sakhya Kare Skanda Arohan. Tumi kona bada log, tumi amisham. Krishna's friends, Subal goes to Krishna and says, Tumi kon bada log. Hey Krishna, what kind of big man are you? Don't think you're someone very great. Tumi kon bada log. You're not anyone great. You kill demons. Krishna, even we can kill demons. It's this that we want Brajavasis to give you the credit. That's why we are asking you to kill the demons. He can also kill. Krishna is not understanding. Krishna is thinking, what? I killed Putana, Shakatasur, Bakasur, Agasur in front of you, and you are saying even you can do that? When Krishna killed Aghasur, he went to Madhumangal. And he went to Madhumangal and said, did you see that? I just killed Aghasur. And Krishna expected Madhumangal will say, wow, Krishna, you're so powerful, so nice, you're so brave. Krishna goes and tells Madhumangal, did you just see? I killed Aghasur. And Aghasur and Madhumangal in reply to that, he says, big deal. I was chanting Sarpa Maran Mantra. That is why Aghasur died. I am a Brahmana. With my Brahmin thread, I was chanting Sarpa Maran Mantra. That is why he died. You didn't do anything. Krishna says, what? You are chanting Sarpa Maran Mantra and I am doing Dishum Dishum and you take the credit. The friends are convinced they are better than Krishna. Krishna is not able to understand this. Krishna is not able to understand. Sarvagya, he knows everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha, where everyone is offering obeisances. He is Bhagavan. In Vrindavan, he is not Bhagavan. He is not Bhagavan. They consider him a normal child. For us, Krishna is God because we are still in the practicing stage. But the Brajavasis are so pure, they consider Vishnu as God. Because Nanda Maharaj in his home would worship Vishnu. He wouldn't keep Krishna on the altar and do Samsara Dava Nalalida Loka. He wouldn't do that. He would consider Krishna as his normal child. And how can Maya Yashoda and Nanda Baba think Krishna is God? When there is lightning, Krishna hides behind the pallu. Krishna gets scared seeing the lightning. He holds the pallu of Maya Yashoda. Krishna finds it difficult to turn from one side to another side in the cradle. He who in Mahabharata runs with a wheel in Vrindavan is finding it difficult to turn from the cradle, and Maya has to go, oh, la, mera becha, cha. How do you think Maya Yashoda will think he's Bhagavan? If tomorrow I tell Narottam Vilas Prabhu that Rasaraj is God, he will say, क्या प्रभु जी, आप तो 2 दिन के लिए आते हो, हमसे पूछो, वो घर में कितना मस्ती करता है हमें पता है. He will not accept it. Even if I give him $1 million, he will say, Prabhu ji, Not possible. This is Vrindavan. They are not ready to accept Krishna as God. He cannot be God. This is so interesting. When Krishna left Vrindavan, this is this last one example. When Krishna left Vrindavan, he went to Mathura and he smashed Kamsa to death. Kamsa died. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti gives a mind-boggling commentary. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here says, when Krishna killed Kamsa, the Mathuravasis were seeing, and naturally all of them were at their knees. Bhagavan, 11-year-old. Imagine if tomorrow, what's your name?
Sankalp.
Tomorrow if Sankalp drags Kamsa to death and punches him and kills him, it'll be like a thunderbolt. Sankalp, you're Bhagavan, you're God. 11-year-old smashing Kamsa to death, dragging him by the hair. You don't see that. The Mathuravasis fell down to the ground in awe and reverence. At that time, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Sridham Sakha came, Radharani's brother, older brother. Sridham Sakha came. He saw the whole thing. And he went to Krishna and he said, you are not my Krishna. Krishna said, what do you mean I am not your Krishna? In front of you, I left Vrindavan, I came to Mathura. He said, that all I know, you are not my Krishna. Krishna said, look, I am bluish black, same personality, same height, same thing. I am that same Krishna. Madhumanga. Sridham said, no, you are not my Krishna. My Krishna is not so powerful. I defeat him every day. Krishna said, what love is this? What love is this? Sridham tells Krishna, I defeat you every day. My Krishna is not so powerful that he will drag Kamsa to death. He's Kamsa Maharaj. Every single day at Bandirvan, I sit on the chest of Krishna and I punch him. He is not so powerful. You are not my Krishna. Krishna says, believe me, I am your same Krishna. 2 days back, I left. I am your same Krishna. Sridham says, Acha? Krishna says, yes, I am your same Krishna. Sridham says, prove it to me. Krishna says, okay, how do you expect me to prove? What should I do? Sridham says, let's have a wrestling match. If you are my Krishna, then I should be able to defeat you. So Krishna says, okay. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, amidst the dead body of Kamsa, Sridham and Krishna were punching each other. Why? Because Krishna is trying his level best to prove to Sridham, I am your Krishna. And Sridham is saying, not possible. They are punching each other. And lo and behold, Sridham defeats Krishna. He sits on the chest of Krishna and punches him. And he says, confirm, you are my Krishna. Because I could defeat you. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, how can we understand the love of the Brajavasis? Sridham is seeing Krishna kill, Kamsa to death. Still, his love is not watering down. He is still convinced that I am superior. क्या बोलेंगे? ऐसे प्रेम को क्या बोलेंगे? अब ये तो सख्य रस हुआ. अब आता है वात्सल्य रस. फिर आता है गोपियों का प्रेम. फिर आता है ललिता और विशाखा का प्रेम. फिर आता है राधा रानी का प्रेम. It is a very high subject matter. So Krishna on purpose in Vrindavan by his Leela Shakti Yogamaya goes into Mugdha form, and outside is Sarvagya. When he leaves Braj, the Mugdha transitions to Sarvagya. While in Braj, he's Mukta, he's covered, and he forgets he's God. He's made to forget, and he wants to forget he's God. Does that help? Our Q&A are itself like a class, I feel. We have been going for like 45 minutes now. Yes. Yes, correct.
Thank you so much for all that. I just wanted to ask, a lot of things that happen, a lot of events that happen within pastimes of Krishna, etc. We always attribute them to Leela as some sort of explanation for those things happening. Like, oh, like Brahma gave benediction to Hiranyakashipu, that's Leela. Like, or something like this happened because Krishna wanted to like do his pastime. But isn't there some like
a proper explanation?
Yeah. Is there always a proper explanation?
Why do we, for everything, why do we say Leela, Leela, Leela?
Yeah.
Well, the understanding is every pastime that we take has a logical understanding. You gave the example of Prahlad and Nrsimha and Brahmaji giving the boons to Hiranyakashipu. The whole pastime of Prahlad and Nrsimha is meant only for one purpose: to extol the glories of a 5-year-old child. That bhakti is beyond age. Bhakti is beyond any circumstance. Sthane stita shrutigata tanuvak manovir, Brahmaji says in his prayers. Wherever you are, whatever position you are in, whatever the age is, whatever the situation is, we can still perform bhakti and we can still get Krishna. So the pastime of Prahlad and Dhruva are centered on the same theme, same age, same family problem. For one, it is the father, for another, it's the stepmother. Same theme, same age, same result, getting Krishna. So age has no barrier. In bhakti, age has no barrier, and both these pastimes are centered around that one thing. The whole, if Hiranyakashipu did not get the boons, then the whole pastime will not unfold. So to extol the glories of that 5-year-old, and to also help naturally the citizens who are there, the Supreme Lord comes in a form na bhuto, na bhavishyati, never seen in the past.
But for example, today when you explain, like when you gave the glories of Radharani, you used Bhutana Mataji as an example. So how can we like come up with these? I mean, you were like the way that this like sometimes it feels like in order to understand something, we need to go a level or two back in order to understand where it came from, in order to fully understand the beauty of it. So, is that valuable? Like, in what situations is that valuable? In situations?
So as Srila Prabhupada would always explain that if someone is if Rasaraj is there and I give him a problem of calculus, he is going to laugh at it. Leave alone understanding, he is going to laugh at it. Probably he will tear the page and he will put it in his mouth. It doesn't make any sense for him, and that's completely okay for him. He is there in the samadhi right now. It doesn't make much sense to him. The calculus problem. Similarly, we find. Sorry, I just forgot your question. I just became blank. Did you also become blank?
How you mentioned? I mean, you explained the glories of God.
Oh yes, I got your question. So Srila Prabhupada would always explain that every pastime that is there can be backtracked. It's not just the pastime of Putana. Trunavarta, Shakatasur, Keshi, Krishna killing Kamsa with a Sridham twist. Every pastime has more and more and more. But the catch here is, as Srila Prabhupada explained, we go systematically. That's the reason I was giving the example. If he, rather than studying ABCD, jumps to calculus and he says, Prabhuji, in calculus also there is ABCD, find X. Well, that ABCD and this ABCD is different. Similarly, and from the sadhaka stage, as Prabhupada explained, we start from the basic books, Bhagavad Gita, transition to Srimad Bhagavatam. Read all the other books of Prabhupada, Nectar of Instruction, Ishopanishad, Nectar of Devotion, the Back to God and magazines. They are so wonderful, the Back to God and magazines that Prabhupada wrote in the 1940s in Radha Damodar Munda. So wonderful. When all those things are done, then we go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is why Prabhupada said Chaitanya Charitamrita is postdoc study. Why postdoc? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking the mood of Radharani and then Radharani seeing from her lens, seeing Krishna. It's very difficult to understand. So if there is no history of Bhagavatam, we naturally don't know who Krishna is. We naturally don't know who Radharani is. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a far-fetched reality. So it slowly transitions from Krishna of Dwaraka in Gita to 9 cantos where Aishwarya is hammered, 10th canto where Brajalila comes. There in Brajalila, Sakhiras, Vatsaliras, Madhuriras, and then that eventually transitions to Chaitanya Charitamrita. There were 3 unfulfilled desires of Krishna that got fulfilled in Chaitanya Leela. So slowly we go from a book to a book to a book. In fact, if you go to Radheshyam Prabhu's website, there is a list that Radheshyam Prabhu has compiled. If someone is starting new and has not read any books, what are the books to be read? How to start? What is the first book? And he starts the list by giving the name Signs of Self-Realization, the first book. So slowly you build up and end up reading all the books of Prabhupada. So if you go to Prabhuji's website, you will find which book to read, which book to read, which book to read. When all of Prabhupada's books are done, we are 100% thorough with the philosophy. Then we transition to the works of predecessor acharyas to decorate our understanding. But otherwise, anything prior will be little immaturity, because there is no backing of what the Siddhanta is, and we are simply jumping. Does it make sense? One last. One more. One last or done?
Not a question, but if you can conclude the discussion.
Prabhuji, just conclude the class. बहुत हो गया प्रभुजी. अब प्रसाद का time है. It's a comment. प्रभुजी, just enough. बस हो गया प्रभुजी. आप कल flight ले लो, निकल जाओ सियाटल को प्रभुजी. बहुत हो गया आपका. No.
That's because I follow you and your brother. So I wanted you to conclude the class by hinting what is the evening program. And can we expect youth, adults, like married youth? I don't know how to say this. Also to ask.
Youth, married youth, husbands who are finding answers. Oh, where's Mataji? Mataji disappeared. Matajis who are finding answers. Like Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita for everyone. Everyone is welcome, Mataji. To be honest, I personally don't know what the plan is. I was just told that it's a get to know session. How I joined Krishna consciousness, what my parents did, how we started chanting, all those things. And I was also asked to speak something about Ayendra Prabhu because the youth are there. So to speak something about Shripad Ayendra Prabhu. I think that will be the line of thought. Everyone is welcome. I don't think I will be speaking something just laser focused for them. Maybe sometime in the future, but this time I think everyone is most welcome. Yes. I have come here for this only.
Thank you. You talked at the center how to motivate kids, like japa. Like how we can stay motivated and being enthusiastic every day to do japa. I would like to get tips and suggestions and anything that you can give us, stay enthusiastic, because some days it's like really good, some days it's like I have to force myself to how to stay consistently motivated.
I am a very small person. As far as consistency and enthusiasm are concerned, I can tell you one thing that we do at ISKCON Seattle, and devotees at Portland are more than welcome to join us. It's the same time zone. Every day in the morning, 4:30 to 5:45, we have a japa call. Seattle devotees join. About at least good 20 devotees join. By the time it's 5:45, your at least 12 rounds are done. And you sit another 15 minutes. By the time 6 o'clock, every day, by the time 6, your 16 is done. When there is a japa call, the advantage that happens is, one day if you don't join, the congregation knows Sarva Shakti Mataji is sleeping. So out of fear, you start joining. That fear transitions to a habit, and then that becomes an intoxication. Morning chanting it reaches that zenith. I am repeating the same thing that I heard from the adults. I remember one Prabhuji came to me and said, Prabhuji, there was a time I was chanting evening. And now every day is there in the morning. And he told me that Prabhuji, ek lat lag gaya hai. It's an intoxication. When I don't chant in the morning, and if I get up one day at 7 o'clock, I understand remaining 20 devotees already finished their 16 at 6 and I was still sleeping. Second, they also know I was sleeping. They know Sarva Shakti Mataji was sleeping. She did not chant in the morning. So out of fear we start. Kya bolenge log? It's good to sometimes use fear in your favor. If that fear is going to mold you to get up in the morning, why not do it? And that's one thumb rule I've seen in Seattle. With the youth, with the adults. When you do something collectively, when you go down, there are others to pull you up. When someone else goes down, you are there to pull them up. Everyone hand in hand. Ekaki amar nahi paye bala harinama sankirtane. Ekaki amar nahi paye bal. Individually, we have no strength. No strength. It's not just about coming for one Sunday feast and then remaining whole week having no connection. Zoom is there. We can start our own ISKCON Portland morning Zoom call. Wherever we are, we can chant. With Zoom, we all can come together. It comes to that phase where we will reach 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, and we will see every single day last 6 months, morning Brahma Muhurta hour 16 is done. We will understand that we are making some advancement. From chanting 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock at night and sometimes backlog, we justify that. Prabhuji, backlog ho jata hai. Aaj 13 kiya, kal 19 kar lenge. 16 plus 3. Well, we may do it, but we also understand that is not correct chanting. That is not correct chanting. We will not go any far ahead in that. Perfect chanting, as Prabhupada taught us, is Brahma Muhurta. Prabhupada never compromised. All the ISKCON temples in India you find 4:30 Mangalarti, 5 o'clock Tulsi Arti, and then I think Shikshashtakam prayers, and 5:15 to 7:15 every ISKCON Indian temple has morning chanting. 2 hours in the Brahma Muhurta. This is Prabhupada's standard. We are not fabricating new. This is what Prabhupada taught us. Morning chanting is very important. Very, very important. 99% of our advancement comes through chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. 1% is everything else. This is Prabhupada's statement. And that chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also morning chanting. Morning chanting advantage is outside you have complete silence. Second, no WhatsApp, no Microsoft Teams, no emails, no boss troubling us. House peaceful, everyone is sleeping. It's a different experience when you chant in the morning, every single day. And it reaches that phase that if suppose you don't join for 2 days, devotees will not be afraid to call you in the morning. That Mataji, it's 4:30, please get up. So when you are down, others are helping you. They're lifting you up. And this is Sajatiya Sangha. Devotees doesn't mean we just come around and we crack jokes, which is good. But we are there as a community, ISKCON Portland. We want to advance in bhakti. That's the aim of Krishna consciousness. We're talking about Sripad Ayendra Prabhu. Ayendra Prabhu would make a statement. He would say, it is everyone's duty to be advanced in Krishna consciousness. It is dharma. It is our duty to be advanced. There is no excuse for not being advanced in Krishna consciousness. What is the lacking? What has Prabhupada not given us? Books, yes. Temples, yes. Devotees, yes. Bona fide, exalted spiritual masters in the form of his disciples, yes. Temples, yes. Kya chahiye aur? Kya nahi hai? What is that thing that we don't have? The only thing that is acting as a barrier is our laziness. If we can kick out that laziness with the help of devotees, sky is the limit. Sky is the limit. The youth of ISKCON Seattle, they're all 13, 14, 15, 16. They were not chanting 16 3 years back. Now they're chanting 64. Festivals, they chant 64. Get up in the morning. And there we have a lot of services. Harivilas Maharaj's mood is like real kamar todne wala service. Lot of Vaishnava Seva, which is wonderful. All the kids do it. I was seeing photos they were sharing. They were making the Rath Yatra cart. There is a Rath Yatra for the adults and there is kids Rath Yatra special. Kids make the Rath Yatra, they bring their deities, they sing, they play mridanga, they will pull, they manage everything. So that they get a feeling, we also have a position in this community. We are also able to do something. So we have to kick out that laziness. With laziness, with procrastination, we don't get Krishna. Very simple. And just Kirtan is the Yuga Dharma, yes. But if it is not coupled with Harinam Japa, we don't go any far ahead. What does Indra Prabhu say? Nam Japa is like tablets. Nam Sankirtan is like injections. You need both. We need both. So Nam Sankirtan is very powerful. But Japa is for personal purity. And Nam Sankirtan is when we share that personal realization with others in the form of Harinam Sankirtan. So both are important. So if we have a group, as I said, I am a very small person, but I am just saying what worked out in Seattle for the adults as far as morning chanting and as far as the youth is concerned. If we can start a Zoom call and devotees can come together, the youth can come together. Morning, 1.5 hours. I don't know whatever the temple schedule is. Making sure we don't clash with the temple Mangalarti schedule. We don't want to clash with the temple. If the Mangalarti is at 4:30, what time is the Mangalarti? 5? 5 to 5:30 Mangalarti. What's the schedule like in the morning? 5 to 5:30. By 5:30, everything is done. Tulsi Arti, Narsingha Puja. Everything is done. 5:30 to 7, we can have a japa call. 1.5 hours every day. Zoom is there. Technology is there. We are not foreign to Zoom. 5:30 to 7, have a japa call. So we can come to temple, attend Mangalarti, Tulsi Puja and Narsingha Arti. 5:30 we start our chanting. 7 o'clock 16 is done. Brahma Muhurta 16 is done. Every day, as simple as that. Rather than chanting 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 4, 5 in the evening. That is not what Prabhupada expected. Prabhupada's mood is morning. And we see this commonality. Those who are advanced on this path always chant in the morning. Always chant in the morning. That is the sole reason why you can make advancement. This one anga is so powerful that it can give everything. Nam Akshara Nama Nai. Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. Krishna is coming down as the holy name. And finally, just to wrap up this point. In one class, Srila Radhanath Maharaj was saying, he was speaking about morning chanting, and Srila Radhanath Maharaj made a point. He said, morning time Brahma Muhurta, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with his associates is roaming around ready to give Krishna Prem. But if you are sleeping, who's at fault? He is Mahavadanya, he is wanting to give you Krishna Prem, he is walking around. But if you are sleeping, you cannot point fingers at him, he is wanting to give you. So Maharaj said, morning time, Brahma Muhurta time is the best time to make advancement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is wanting to give you. But if you are sleeping, it's a little difficult. So if we have a japa call, make a WhatsApp group of those who are serious to get up in the morning. Not like other groups where other posts are there. Strictly japa or anything pertaining to increasing our taste to Harinam. And making sure that there is some leader who can monitor. If someone doesn't join the call, making sure he calls them or texts them. For Seattle, I do that. For the Prabhujis, I do it. For the Matajis, there is another Mataji. I don't call Matajis or I don't text them. With the Prabhujis, I do it. With the youth, I do it. If they are not there for 2 days, I will text them. So someone who can take that step of making sure that everyone is there on the call every single day. Unless until you're not well or previous night there was some office work because of which you slept late. When you can start getting up early in the morning, you can get up early when you sleep on time. So many things get regularized. Your sleeping becomes on time. Your eating becomes on time. Because if you want to sleep at 10, you will want to eat before sunset. So digestion takes place perfect. Sleeping is on time. Brahma Muhurta Japa is there. No chanting during day and night. 16 rounds. I am not saying we should not chant extra. I am saying 16 should be in Brahma Muhurta. This is thumb rule. This is thumb rule. Prabhupada always did it. And all of Prabhupada disciples follow this mode. We see Srila Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Wherever he is there, you will never find him have jet lag. Wherever he is traveling, whatever the time zone is, he will be there in the altar for Mangalarti. At 75 years of age, 78, I think. They are teaching by example. Prabhupada disciples are teaching by example. Morning time is not for sleeping. His Grace Ram Roy Prabhu was telling me when I was there in New York. He was very close to Sripad Aindra Prabhu. Ram Roy Prabhu was saying, in my 25 years of knowing Aindra Prabhu, not even one day did I see Aindra Prabhu sleep during Brahma Muhurta. Never. He said, I cannot think of a single day when his light was off during Brahma Muhurta. He would always be awake. Where does advancement come from? There has to be seriousness. By being frivolous, we don't make advancement. There has to be nishtha. The desire has to be there. Andar aag lagna chahiye. Time kam hai. Time is ticking. I want to make advancement. And the first step is to get up in the morning. And the way we can do that is to start a call. If that starting a call is difficult, we already have one in Seattle. But that is 4:30 to 6. So if you want to go for Mangalarti, it may clash. There, the Mangalarti timings are different. So that's why we have kept that. But nonetheless, this is the idea. This is the plan where morning chanting will definitely be regularized. No question about it. No question about it. Hands on my heart, I can guarantee. If there is a Zoom call, everyone sincerely comes. Within 1 year, we will find. Less than 1 year. Our chanting will get regularized. Our sleeping will get regularized. Our eating, digestion, everything will go perfect. This is one thumb rule to get up in the morning. Hare Krishna. Yes. I think this will be the last. It's already 9:06. 1.5 hours before sunrise is Brahma Muhurta. Correct. So total of 48 plus 48 is 96 minutes. 96 minutes is Brahma Muhurta. So 1.5 hours before sunrise starts Brahma Muhurta. But if it is suppose summer time and if the sunrise is 5 o'clock, then 1.5 hours prior becomes 3:30. So it may get a little early for many. So Srila Jagannath Das Babaji says, irrespective of whichever time zone you are in, 3 to 7 can be considered as Brahma Muhurta. This time zone, 3 to 7. Ideally, the earlier we finish, good. If we can finish prior to 7 at 6 o'clock, it's great. But 3 to 7 can be the window. Nothing later than that. Extra rounds, yes. But minimum 16, in this window, it should be done. And we will see. Andar ek sukoon milega. When we do this for good 6 months, we will get a different kind of happiness inside. Brahma Muhurta chanting. It's an addiction. 3 to 7. What if you have a Zoom call? Just join that Zoom call and just finish your 16. Simple. Very simple. All that is required is there should be desire. Prabhupada was there in the morning. This will be the last thing. I think we are already past 9. That's why I told at the start when I asked Prabhuji what is the upper limit. He said, I told you, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada was in a morning walk. I heard this from Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada was there in a morning walk, and there was a 17-year-old boy who had joined that morning walk. And he was wanting to ask a question to Prabhupada, but seeing Prabhupada, he got so afraid that question nikal nahi raha tha. Prabhupada had such like the way Prabhupada would walk and the way he would talk, even to ask a question, it was sometimes difficult. So this 17-year-old boy was very scared, and one way walk is done, another way walk is done, and his question is not coming out. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj saw that he wants to ask a question, but he didn't say anything. Prabhupada sat in the car, door is closed, window they're rolling it up. This 17-year-old boy mustered courage and looked at Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada! Prabhupada looked. And Prabhupada would have a regal way like, yes. The typical Srila Prabhupada, yes. So Prabhupada looked, and this 17-year-old boy asked, what is that one thing in Krishna consciousness that can get us Radha and Krishna? One thing. One thing that can get us Radha and Krishna. And now if we are there, probably we will quote verses and this and that. Prabhupada just looked at him and said, desire. By desire, you come to this world, and by desire, you leave this world. It's all a question of desire. It's all a question of how much you want Krishna. When you want something, Zameen Asman ek kar dete log to get it. If the desire is there to Krishna, to want Krishna, then the sky is the limit. We will get it. So Prabhupada just said this one word, desire. And then Prabhupada rolled the glass up. Srila Prabhupada ki jai!